Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We are about to start up the final game one of the first round of the NBA playoffs. I don't know, is that enough qualifiers to put on a chat, but we've got Warriors versus Rockets on one screen, and it also is the last night of Coachella, chat. Old man moment. Junior H is about to take the stage, chat. I'm not really certain who this guy is, I gotta be honest. I haven't really seen him in any of the Spotify playlists we've been looking at. So is that our fault or is that Spotify's fault? Are we just not looking in the right genre? I'm not sure, exactly where we would find this guy. But this run, and we were talking about the days a couple live streams ago. Sunday overall is a good day. The main stage right now, though, the first three, you get Megan Thee Stallion is the one that is going to be the most that's going to be the one we're probably going to watch the most, chat. So if the game is ever going to get just kind of, if there's going to be a lull in the game, it needs to be when Megan Thee Stallion takes it. All the reviews, just the refs, just get it out of your system right when Megan Thee Stallion, hey, yo, chat, pause. But, but yeah, she is on a little bit later. And, for the radio people, Posty is back up on stage as well too, chat. For those that, I guess everybody still seems to be into country Posty, but I don't know, chat. You know how it is. I mean, maybe it's just us not being the adapters, but what can I say? You get a couple, and I mean, that's the brilliance of a guy like Post Malone's career, is he can hit all these different genres and collect all these different fans in all these different ways. So it's like, okay, there's gonna be a Post Malone song that pops through the shuffle anyways, even if he's off doing a different thing right now because of the way he was making music back in the day. But I'm just saying that, he was definitely majorly successful in the hip hop lane. So it was just tough to see him jump over, I guess. But it was always an interesting success as well too, though, chat, because and just an interesting thing with, I guess, him in that stuff, because it's not like did he get nominated? Maybe I guess some of the songs did get nominated in the hip hop categories, or did they just get nominated more in the general? We'd have to go back and look. I want to say that, didn't Congratulations win maybe best rap song? I don't know. That's the best rap performance. Which one it would have actually gotten, chat? Sometimes it feels like they get the categories mixed up themselves, but I feel like some of his songs definitely got nominated back in the day, but none of those early albums. What's the Beer Bongs and Bentley is the main one that I'm thinking of, chat. But is White Iverson? Is that just the one with the orange cover? Stony something? Am I forgetting? And then there's a third. Well, then there's the Toothache one. Toothache, what's it called, chat? Okay, wait, let's get this back up here. Okay, yeah, so Stony was the first one. Beer Bongs and Bentley's the second one. Hollywood's Bleeding was the third one. 12 Carat Toothache was the fourth. The Diamond Collection, okay, is this a compilation album? And then Austin is, I guess, number 5. F1 Trillion, number 6. So is he doing quadrilogies for sort of, or maybe he's doing duos. I was gonna say duologies, but maybe he's doing duos. Stony and Beer Bongs, Hollywood and Toothache, Austin and F1. So who knows? Maybe this is the last run we're gonna get of this phase of Post Malone. Maybe he's like the Weeknd, chat, or Tyler the Creator. He just Post Malone reinvents himself every couple of albums. We don't give him the credit, I guess, as that type of I guess maybe it's just me, chat, but I guess even in the 12 Carat Toothache, there's a bunch of songs in here that are pretty good, even though, of course, this one is a little bit more poppy, but I mean, still, catchy songs are catchy songs. What am I gonna say, chat? But, and I guess, going through, I've never really saved a full album, I guess, into a playlist, so that's just, I guess, my own fault for not stacking the. I guess am I the only one that does that, chat? Does anybody else save full albums into playlists? I guess I was gonna say not every album, but I don't know, some artists it's I have pretty close to every song saved into a couple playlists. And I mean, I have friends and stuff that make full playlists of the artist where they can just put all of their songs from back in the day, making Juice World playlists, and it's just throw all the Juice songs in one, shuffle them up, and then you can just listen to your guy, all the albums together. But Rockets have the early 2-0 lead, chat. Butler trying a 3. Was that his first shot of the game? So I don't know if that was his strategic get the defense thrown off balance a little bit. Oh, Svengoon! Draymond! Oh, the Rockets came to play, chat. Udoka. Uh-oh. I mean, make no mistake, chat. There's few. I mean, oh man, this is gonna be tough because there's fewer players that you want to see achieve things in the NBA. You know, more. I mean, Steph Curry is just one of the players that, if he was gonna make a run, you'd love to see that. Oh man, Van Fleet just hit a 3, chat. That's not a good sign for the Warriors. Oh, Houston. I don't know if Houston's ever been this loud, chat. Do we have to go back to the 90s? This is crazy. I'm going to have to pull up some of those Harden tapes. I felt like some of those Harden, you know, I guess we don't want to start retroactively doing the Harden thing, chat. We're 2 minutes into this game, but I don't know. It was just and the Houston crowds, I mean, you get a competitive team. The crowd's always going to be a good team. But man, the energy was crazy there to start for a second. Pajemski, who would have thought Pajemski would have been the one to slow it down, chat? Wow, the 3. But that Sengun dunk was electric. Wow. Unbelievable. And I forget which game we were watching. You know, there's a ton of playoff games here, chat. But just the right away. It was that Denver game. It was that Denver Clippers game, yeah, where we were, you know, you're kind of wondering how this team is just going to start the playoffs. Are we going to get those vibes right away of, yeah, this Denver season was up and down, sort of iffy. I mean, make no mistake, that game was up and down, and they had to fight and claw their way back in and barely won it at the end. But still, they showed up at the start, didn't let the Clippers necessarily, I forget what even the biggest lead, like it was 15 points, like, you know, that's just starting to push it to where it's like, okay, you know, then they really start to get a lead. But I mean, just right away, Chad, you know, Udoka's one of the best coaches in the league, but I think because of the way Mazzulla was able to not only get that Celtics team to be successful, but he himself has just become a better coach. I mean, everybody on the team's gotten better. It's why the team has gotten better. I mean, we're geniuses, chat, for figuring that out, I guess. But, you know, anyway, Mazzulla himself is, of course, a really, really great replacement for Udoka. But the way he was able to level that team up that first way was really impressive, chat. And, I mean, you know, it's tough to say that he did ultimately get them over the edge because he got them to the finals, and then what happens? You know, speaking of Steph, like, he just gets lit up by an all-time finals performance by one of the greatest players of all time. So that could still happen here. I mean, obviously it's Steph in a different phase of his career. This is a different Rockets team. I don't know if you would say that this Rockets team, it's obviously not better than that Celtics team. I think that Tatum and Brown, you know, they're still better players than anybody that is on this Rockets team, but maybe the depth of this Rockets team is a little bit that version of the Celtics team, because that would still have been the smart version of, like, they wouldn't have had Holiday, they wouldn't have Porzingis yet either too. So this the totality of this Rockets team, chat, I mean, we go from like, what do we see in the playoffs to is it a deeper team than the Celtics team that made the finals? But just the 5-man, 7-man, you know, whatever rotate, because I guess, you know, Tari Eason as well too. They got a couple guys off the bench that they can go to for sure. I mean, you have Thompson in right now, but like we're saying, you know, you got a couple of wings that you can rotate in. I mean, we can't not include Cam Whitmore in this conversation. Okay, Steph unleashed for 3. Uh-oh. Early miss. Van Fleet wasn't necessarily there, but I don't know if he's already in Steph's mind, chat. The Rockets are winning the mental battle, because that is where also, if we remember as well too, where and I know, again, this is a totally different series. It's the finals versus the first round of the playoffs. Two totally different teams. That Celtics team was battle tested as well too, in a way, making some finals runs, Eastern Conference finals runs. But for Udoka, like, okay, we get the first time out, and now it's 5-13, chat. But like we were saying, I mean, yeah, this Rockets team, you go the 1 through 5, like the athleticism that you're bringing off the bench compared to where some of the guys were at in their careers for that Celtics team, it's just an interesting dynamic, chat. And like we're saying, I know it's a totally different series, but that's the Warriors flipped the series when Draymond started getting in the heads of but you know, when he started playing mind games with the Celtics, and when he started messing with them, and when he started talking, and you know, I felt like we've been watching a lot of clips lately of like the trash talking audio where people like stripped, you know, like there's no like announcers or whatever, and somehow they're able to like boost up. It's never mic'd up moments, because ESPN would never like roll out a mic up clip of here's when Luka Doncic was talking trash to Rudy Gobert after like that buzzer beater in the playoffs situation, because I think there was some aggressive trash talk after that shot. That's one of the ones in the compilation that we were watching. But you can find like these audio sort of boosted trash talking scenarios, and they're really, they're fun to watch, Chad. It's like just how intense these moments can be in between the plays. It's crazy. I mean, sitting courtside, if you're witnessing some of those moments, and it's a fun thing as well too in the NBA, where it's sort of that low stakes beef where there's some teams where it definitely could spill over and get ugly. I mean, we saw some of the Pistons stuff, and it could definitely start affecting the fans. So I'm not saying that we're on the edge of our seat hoping it spills over into the crowd. I'm just saying that for the most part, a lot of the NBA trash talk is just trash talk, and then the subsequent things that happen is games can get more physical, guys can get to fouling and stuff, but like we're saying, that Doncic Gobert scenario, a lot of times too as well, it becomes just the play on the court that's elevated, and guys, or sometimes maybe not, a guy starts taking too many shots, whatever the situation is, but it's the high emotion. I mean, this is why we love sports, chat, but the high emotion then mixed in with just being able to retaliate in a sports way. But we've just been watching a lot of these trash talk type moments, and there's a couple of ones from Draymond in that series, and he's just able to flip that series mentally competitively. And again, what is that Rockets team going to allow that to happen? Because like we're saying, could this be this Warriors team in a way could be a more talented team too? How you compare Butler and Poole Butler and Podziemski to Thompson and Poole and the team that they had built around Steph at that time. But it's pretty cool. And Wiggins was, of course, you're trading Butler for Wiggins, but I'm just saying the collection of guys, it's at least not the collection of guys where they're at now, but where they were at a couple years ago when they won the finals. I think it's at least a pretty close group. So it's the matchup. I think the matchup similarity, the matchup evenness, I think is pretty similar compared to last time. So if Udoka and the Rockets team is able to still win the mental battle, chat, then there is a good chance they win the series. And this is another one. I guess I don't remember if I made an official pick. The only one that I was actually really confident to make a pick in, or not necessarily confident to make a pick, but the one that I was really excited to make a pick about was Lakers Timberwolves, just because I had a feeling that, I don't know, chat, it was something unexplainable like in the air that's like, it just feels like a time for Anthony Edwards to take over. And that game was last night, and it almost kind of played out as well too, the way that we thought it might. I don't know if the matchups and stuff were all the same in the way that we thought, but it was, Luka played awesome in that game, and Luka did his one-on-one thing and whatever. But it's a difficult series again if we're doing the comparison from series in the past, where Luka faced this Timberwolves team in the Western Conference Finals, so at least him as a player matchup, how does he compare to what this Timberwolves team is able to throw out there? And you go, okay, the supporting cast around Doncic is probably better compared to what he was working with in the Mavs. Like, you literally have LeBron James, and then Austin Reeves was a 20-point-a-game scorer this year. I mean, we know he's working his way toward that all-star, third-team All-NBA level for his career. But the way that the Mavs team was playing last year, with the way Sam was mentioning as well too, with like PJ Washington, some of those guys hitting those corner threes, but you think about the dynamic of that, where you're kind of always still going to be selling out to stop Doncic in that series, and Kyrie as well too. So there's gonna always, if PJ Washington's gonna be on fire from three, you're never in that series gonna just say, well, okay, now's the time to, we'd have to go back and watch tape to see exactly what they did as well too. But just in theory about how you play that team, you'd still never, or thinking about how these coaches would coach this team, you'd still never go over and just be like, okay, now's the time that we're gonna focus fully on PJ Washington or Derrick Jones Jr. in the corner for three. Like, we still have to put the full focus on Luka Doncic, but with LeBron and Reeves out there, like, weirdly, you're more focused on having to, like we're saying, stop these forces around Doncic, and then it becomes, and again, his team is better than the Nuggets team, and his team is better than the Bucks supporting cast right now, for sure. But I mean, we saw both of those, and you know, the Nuggets got the win barely. I mean, that's, you know, how great Jokic is as a player right now. Doncic can definitely carry his teams to this level. I mean, Giannis can. It's just, man, Chad, some of those the Bucks stats around him are really. I mean, AJ Green is going to have to be their second best player in this series if Dame Lillard is, you know, going to continue to miss games. But Van Fleet with the little midi, chat. Van Fleet, just another playoff guy as well too. I know his regular. Oh, and he just takes the ball from Steph, chat. Oh, it's a tie-up between him and Peyton, but he just strips Steph. I mean, Steph dribbling a little like Chet there, Chet. Handle a little loose, I don't know. Oh, man, just right in front of Van Fleet. Thought he could. Sometimes, I don't know, you get a little too confident. The crossover right in front. You know, I don't know, Steph, put that between the legs. Put that behind the back or something. Don't get too confident. And the hand injury as well, too. You know, Sam was very smart to continue to point that out when we were talking to him on Friday. That hand is potentially a problem. You know, he's missing some threes in this game, too. But it's a tough matchup to really decide, like, is it the hand? Is it the physicality of the Rockets defense, you know? Either way, I feel like you could still probably chalk it up to the effort that the Rockets are playing with. I mean, you're switching Tari Eason to Dylan Brooks right now. I mean, Steph threw the lane off the backboard. I mean, it's why we were putting him on first team All-NBA checks. He's just, I mean, we know. He's absolutely incredible. But like we're saying, he's going to have to work here. That's just a couple of crazy guys for Steph to try to switch, big wings, physical, a lot of contact. But still getting to the back, still getting to the rim there, chat. Little floater. They don't quite have the shot blocking presence if he is able to get past those guys. So there is always something, Chad. Who was that? Jalen Green slicing to the rim. I mean, that Rockets athleticism is just going to be tough for Draymond Green to try to contain. For as good as a defender he is, Chad, it's more of a positional defender. And, you know, his ability to go vertical and still be in spots to contest shots is all still good as well, too. But again, he's not the full-on shot block. He's not working with the same athleticism. Obviously, he was at his peak. I mean, peak Draymond is just a different beast in this type of series. I mean, and he can still change games defensively. But, I mean, you see Tari Eason, chat. The Rockets are getting steals. They're pushing it in transition. They're overwhelming the Warriors early. I mean, there's some effort stuff, too, here with the Warriors as well, as always. You know, maybe, you know, Moody to Draymond. I mean, the physicality as well, too. Like I said, they're getting away some stuff. But, you know, Draymond, you got to be like a receiver. A tight end, I guess, for Draymond, chat. Yikes. But you got to go out there and make a play to get the ball sometimes. But I forget what we were saying before that, chat, because that stretch there really, the Rockets, they just continue to play well. But, oh, yeah, we were talking about Lakers versus Timberwolves. And like we were saying, yeah, weirdly, you're forced to continue to, when LeBron and Reeves out there, you're like, well, we actually, you know, those are good players. We actually have to stop those guys. Like, maybe we weirdly have to be okay with Doncic sacrificing his thing. And you see like, you can have a great player, but, you know, of course, Jay, you need the team around him in a way. And, you know, we still wanted to give Giannis the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Jokic is still, there's a very great possibility. Like, we still could not pick him to, did I say that right, Jay? We still couldn't not pick him to lose. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't want to pick him to win, but I wasn't going to get on here and say, well, I guess I did want to pick him to win, but I wasn't going to get on here and, like, confidently pick the Clippers to win, I guess is what I was going to say. Like, I get it if they do win. The Nuggets have, again, been an up-and-down team this year, and have they shown the ability over an 82-game season to be able to put together a 7-game stretch? Like, they've had some good moments, and, again, they played well here down the stretch, but they haven't given us a ton of faith in the rest of the supporting cast, outside of, I guess, maybe, you know, a little bit of history with Murray and Gordon and some of those guys. But, you know, even in that game as well, too, like, the Clippers gave that up a little bit. Like, Jokic, of course, just, you know, awesome, bringing it back. I mean, Westbrook's energy as well, too. But if you just kind of let Doncic do his thing. And, you know, with the Grizzlies in the Thunder game, like, Shea wasn't even that great early on in that game. I don't even know what his stats ended up being for the rest of the game, chat. Make no mistake, the early game, Thunder Grizzlies, and it was out of hand early. It's like, okay, it's Easter, you know, you could do a little Sunday family lunch at this point and not have to worry about missing too much of the important action. And then, you know, Celtics versus Magic was pretty good game as well. I mean, this is our first chance to get like, and who knows, I guess, how good of a game I guess it'll end up being here over the course of it. But either way, game one, it'll be an impressive game, I guess, regardless of what happens. If the Rockets are come out and they dominate and just continue to be awesome, then it's like, whoa, man, they really have arrived. I mean, we're not locking them in to sweep the series at that point, but it starts to, of course, to look desperate. Or the Warriors, you know, continue to fight here and have a little bit of comeback and get this win. Like, either way, like I'm saying, that this game one will definitely be something to remember here. So is this one, did Sam say that this was his favorite series, or did he say that Nuggets Clippers was his favorite series? I think he ranked both of these above Warriors or above Lakers Timberwolves, which again, in terms of quality of the game, the Lakers Timberwolves game didn't turn out to be an awesome game, but just what we're getting from a storyline potential as well too, chat. And I guess we can pull up the stats from that game as well and just take a quick reminder of what Edwards was able to do, because it was a lot of the Timberwolves supporting guys as well, which again was a big reason why they were able to make the run last year. I mean, yeah, Jaden McDaniels, I mean, what are you going to do, Chad? 11 for 13 is crazy. And then, yeah, Naz Reid 6 for 9 from 3. But, I mean, this is definitely on the high side of their performances. But them putting up 20 points, 25, you know, in those mid to low 20s is not necessarily that surprising at all. And Edwards not necessarily having a great game, good three-point shooting game. Honestly, like, again, this game as a team is totally fine. There's going to be games where you're going to need Edwards to be awesome, and, you know, hopefully, and we have faith that he can be awesome in those moments. Like, hopefully he is awesome. But this is what you want to see, and this is why, and Randall as well too, 35 minutes, 6 for 11, you know, 4 for 6 from 3 is honestly, you know, as much as McDaniels and Naz Reid were important in this game, like, just Randall being efficient, plus 19, even in 7 turnovers is crazy, Chad. 5 assists, 7 turnovers, and they're still able to get the win. Like, that's a good sign, at least for this series. That's for sure. I don't know if Randall, this might be his best playoff game in honestly a long time, Chad. 7 turnovers even included. 16, 5, and 5 in decent shooting numbers. I feel like he did have a couple of good games there with the Knicks, I feel like. But remember, again, he's like a 30% field goal shooter. I mean, you imagine if he continues to get opportunities in the playoffs, that's gonna go up a little. He's gonna have good playoff games. Like, he's not gonna be in the 30s. You know, do we give him the benefit of the doubt for that, Chad? This man can get back up into the at least the low 40s. You know, but 6 for 11, I guess, is over 50%. Then yeah, I mean, great 3-point shooting, I guess, in that game. But yeah, the size of the Timberwolves is going to, I think, be able to match the size of the Lakers. You see, Gobert, of course, only gives you 24 minutes. Like, they end up going with the Naz Reid combination of it. And then, you know, DiVincenzo, Conley. Like, Conley's not going to be a 30-minute-a-game guy in this series. But 22 really good minutes from Conley, chat. Like, that's an interesting aspect of the Reeves piece of it. Like, he's definitely going to be able to make Conley work. But is he going to, you know, he is just going to be a little bit of a weakness on the other side of it as well too. So there's just going to be a little bit of a balancing factor. This is going to be a great series. Like, you know, LeBron's definitely, you know, again, LeBron and Reeves and all those guys are going to be play better. Like, 1 for 5 from 3, but you never know. Like, Jokic didn't shoot the ball well from 3 in that Timberwolves series. As much as we wouldn't necessarily look at that series and go, oh, it was Jokic's fault. And Curry getting to the rim again, chat, him attacking is just going to have to be the thing here, because, again, the length on the perimeter is going to be interesting for him getting these actual 3-point looks. But, oh, Smith, a nice little turnaround, chat. And it'll be interesting as well too, the ways that they're able to compete with the Warriors, because so far, oh man, chat, right now Steph is cooking. Udoka with the timeout. They're up 3 still, but Steph with just a couple of buckets right there, right in a row, bringing the Warriors back single-handedly. Udoka has seen this before, chat. He's like, I'm not losing to Steph Curry in the playoffs again. Not this early as well. We'll see I guess we'll see what ends up happening. But the Rockets have gotten them to play their style a little bit. Like, they've, again, the pressure has been there. They've gotten the buckets where they've been able to play out in transition. I mean, not to say that they can't play in the half court against this team, but to be able to use their athleticism in that way is definitely an advantage. And to be able to get the Warriors running as well too, I think is a good thing. Again, I don't know like the numbers would say what their half court defense is compared to their transition defense. But again, I imagine with the experience of that team, maybe they're going to want to play more in the half court, and they're just going to be a little bit better set up as well too, defensively. But again, if Steph's just in takeover mode, then it doesn't even really matter what the style of the game is, I guess. But if he starts making buckets anyways, then, you know, at least a little bit the Rockets are in the half court. So I don't know if they just need to try to, you know, push it a little bit more off the inbounds and try to just keep playing a little bit faster, chat. But yeah, Steph Curry is going to be a mess to contain here, definitely. But what were we saying? LeBron, yeah, 1 for 5. Yeah, I mean, again, as much as we wouldn't say that Jokic would be to blame for losing that series, he still played pretty well. He was not able to effectively shoot the three-pointer, and that was really costly for them in that final game as well too. So it would not be necessarily surprising if, you know, LeBron didn't have a great three-point shooting series in this one. And again, like this would have been an awesome year and an awesome opportunity to have that combination make kind of a fun run with the way the Western Conference was aligning. But it's a competitive West, and this is just a tough first-round matchup. And to steal this one on the Lakers' home court, game one is tough. So, you know, the Lakers could go definitely win this next. I mean, they could alternate here. It could be 2-2 going back to L.A. game 5, and then maybe L.A. wins that second game in a row there, and then they get the advantage back. Like, it's still very easily possible. And again, with just we're talking about LeBron's performance here. Like, just Doncic alone could himself. I mean, you know, 12 for 22, 5 for 10 from 3, 37 points is like, this still seems like about as great as the Doncic performances you're going to get. What would be 37-8? Only the one assist. Again, some of the three-point shooting around him not necessarily there as well. But if he just has to, I guess, go even more into full takeover mode, like what would have been his highest field goal attempt in the game last playoff run? And we'll go back and rewatch that game as well too, because they were doing some stuff early with Doncic as a screener, and I want to see again the effectiveness of that, and then if they went away from that a little bit. But I looked at, they have the pronunciation guide on Luka. Okay, but did he get to like 30 field goal attempts in a game last year? But I mean, and there's no guarantee that if he's taken that many shots that he's going to, of course, you know, be having an awesome game. But I'm just saying there always is that possibility. So he had a 31 field goal performance in an overtime game, a 37. So these are both, of course, in those early Dallas versus Clippers series when it's like, okay, Doncic is clearly showing us what he's capable of. But even then, Dallas was still even weaker than it was when they made the finals. But 30 shots against Phoenix in a game, couple of 28. So he does get up to 25, you know, quite a bit back in his Dallas days. I mean, not to say that you always even want him to be there as well, to like the idea of him having a better supporting cast, he doesn't have to do all that. But I'm just saying that full Doncic takeover thing is still there. His best game against Minnesota, just I guess individually, and again, I guess he was just awesome in that series. You know, efficient, consistently in the mid 30s. But he had that 36 on 22 shots. I guess he had 33 on 26 shots. Would have been his most, but he was 3 for 10 in that game. 6 for 10 in game 5. But 8 for 12 from the free throw line. 9 for 16 from the free throw line. So I guess only 9 free throw attempts in this game. He could still get up to, or 9 for 16 from the 3-point lines. Or 2, what am I looking at, chat? 3 for 10, 6 for 10? Yeah. Okay, 6 for 7 from 3 throw, 2 for 3 from free throw in that 36-point performance game. So yeah, just him being incredibly efficient in that game. 8 for 12 from 2. But yeah, a tough matchup series for them. Even, again, you look at the Gobert thing, it's still able to give you some good minutes. Plus 14, 2 points is, I mean, you can clown him for it, but if he can not necessarily bite you, and again, if you're just going to be this effective with running your smaller lineups, then that's awesome. If Josh Manoy is going to play 3 minutes, chat, I mean, ideally that's because of a good thing. 20 minutes from Nickeil Alexander-Walker as well too, and even he didn't play well. Like, you could have a good Alexander Walker game and replace one of these other like I was saying, McDaniels is gonna maybe go back to earth a little bit, but you can always do the joke shot like him and Nikhil Alexander Walker. What were they? 4 for 9 combined for 3. So again, McDaniels is carrying in that stat, but that combined, I mean, you'll take it, and that is very realistic for them to continue to be able to do going forward. 11 for 13, 2 for 9. Oh, chat, is the math going to be over our head? But what do we got? 13 for 22 from the field is still going to be a little, maybe a little bit more efficient than they're actually going to play, but it's not far off. So again, they're winning this game by 22 points. Like, are they going to win all their games by 22? Yeah, probably not going to continue to blow out the Lakers. But like I said, this whole Western Conference was insanely close the entire year. So Minnesota, 1 win off of the Lakers, even though they're a couple of spots down in the seeding, is not surprising for them to get this upset. And again, a interesting, I mean, we get a potential Steph versus LeBron series as well too, but I mean, that would actually be the official changing of the guard moment, Chad. I know again Luka is involved as well too, so you still have an Edwards-Luka piece of it, which is why again I think that Lakers series is so fun, because you have Edwards versus the old guard and Edwards versus the new guard at the same time, and the fact that Edwards at the same time maybe could take them both down is just like, oh wow, Edwards would just maybe, not that it would be surprising for him to leap all these guys, but it's like now it's time for him to be jumped up at the way top of this list. Oh, they just showed that Sengun dunk again, Chad. That was just a nasty, nasty way to start this series. But you think about even like Edwards versus Shea, like I don't know what the Edwards playoff equivalent would have to be. Like Shea is definitely much more set up to win the finals this year, I think, of course, and to be the finals MVP and to get that whatever that legacy bump is for achieving that, or could Chet or Jalen Williams with the finals MVP, sure, but for him to be still captaining that finals team is still seems like the most possible outcome of the playoffs as of right now. But if Edwards is in the Western Conference Finals and he's awesome throughout the playoffs, and again awesome in that series, or I guess the Thunder are amazing defensively, so wouldn't be so super surprising if Dort and all the guys, that they were able to switch on him, and it's just they're able to continue to have a massive defensive playoffs all the way around. But if Edwards is at that stage taking his team there, that would be series wins over the Lakers and then maybe the Rockets. But either way, like we're saying, just the fact that you have LeBron and Steph both set up to make these playoff advances, playoff runs, but they could, could they win a series? Sure. And for them to both be taken down by these younger teams would be crazy. So, I mean, could one of them, again, maybe the Lakers with Doncic are more likely to be the team that bounces back and ends up winning their series. But if we're just looking at the LeBron-Steph side of things, because I think from a marketing standpoint, that would be unfortunately for Doncic. And as much of a, maybe that would be the debate as well, too. I'm sure there'd be takes about, is the league marketing this series wrong? It should be more marketed around Doncic instead of LeBron and Steph. But it's like, should it actually? Like, LeBron and Steph are amazing and still great at basketball and still the stars of the league. So I don't know why we can't still market it around them when they're awesome. But, oh, yeah, here come these young teams, Chad. Here come these young teams. And, yeah, the Rockets may not have the star player to market it in the same way. But you got Amen Thompson there. You got whichever young players continue to emerge, like Sengun, like we were saying. Sengun, I don't know if you start putting him into face of the league conversations, but you just go, oh, yeah, this Rockets team, like, this is the next wave of the league. And here we go, like, the league is shifting. The talent in the league is changing over, and there's going to be new faces. But, we're still going to get competitive high-level basketball regardless of who is at these games. And, maybe, again, it's just marketing the future of the league more so than the individual talent on the Rockets versus with the Timberwolves. Like, you could actually say, like, Edwards, the individual, is the guy you want to prop up as the face. But, yeah, shout out to Minnesota for getting that one, chat. But, yeah, the East, all of the favorites in the East ended up winning. So I know we were kind of leaning that way. And the one upset we were looking at was Pistons versus Knicks. But shout out to Rosillo, the one white guy in the media that likes seasoning, chat. He did keep pointing out in his playoff previews the playoff seasoning of the New York Knicks, and it did feel like it showed up a little bit. They were definitely more, I mean, you see Brunson was by far the best player on the court, and we were kind of in that, hey, is it going to be Cade? Is it going to be Brunson? But, I mean, you see Cade, chat, 1 for 3, 1 for 4 from 3-point range, 8 from 21 overall, and still 12 assists. Like, Tobias Harris played well from the field in this game, and so did Beasley as well, too. Yeah, he was 6 for 12 from 3. So those were encouraging signs going forward. Like, the depth of the Pistons is definitely more encouraging than the depth of the Knicks, but Campaign was really great off the bench in this game. 3 for 5 from 3. And was that all in like one quarter? If I remember, I think there was like a Campaign run maybe in this game. I mean, we're all, of course, always waiting for the moment where Campaign is going to swing the game. Tobias Harris in the third quarter. Okay, so he was just kind of, you know, hitting threes sporadically throughout. But regardless, you know, you get a decent Campaign performance. And this is about as healthy as the Knicks have been in a while as well, too. Like, you don't have to dip into the P.J. Tucker, Precious Achiuwa parts of your bench, at least in this one. You can still, you know, Mitchell Robinson. And you still, of course, are leaning heavily on your starters, but at least you're getting, you know, solid minutes from some of your bench guys. McBride not even shooting that well either, too, Chad. But I don't think, again, the fourth quarter you see where the Pistons or the Knicks really separated in this game, and that's that, like we were saying, that playoff seasoning, that just being ready for the moment and locking in and being able to take over the game. And Brunson, of course, just being awesome and being the best player on the court. So maybe we shouldn't have doubted Brunson. I mean, especially after the player rankings that we did a couple of live streams ago, and I was saying in that player rankings that, you know, I'm not ready to start moving Brunson down the list just because he was hurt for a good portion of the year, and just because maybe there's some good young talent as well, too, in the league. And it's tough. Like, you know, you look at how good Banchero was in the game against the Celtics, and it's like, you know, maybe because the Magic aren't going to be the team that the Knicks are, is Banchero, like, where's he fall in the regular season? Edwards, like, it's just going to be a stacked top of the league by the time maybe we get done with the playoffs. And we're still, even if LeBron and Steph lose in the first round of the playoffs, chat, I mean, from a player ranking standpoint, I mean, I can admit it right now. I'm not going to look, I'm just going to be like, well, you know, the Rockets, they're a better team. Like, if Steph was on, you know, trade Steph with Van Fleet, are the Rockets better? Still probably. So, you know, Steph is still going to be pretty high up there in the player rankings after this. Like, even KD, after the season that he had, we're still looking at KD. Like, you know, he's still probably one of the top 15 guys in the league, top 20 at worst. Like, and that top 20 is, of course, that's just a different thing than a top 20 guy in the league from 2 decades ago or whatever. It's just, you know, a more stacked list and a much more better talent pool to go from. But Podziemski with the 3 ties it up. So here are the Warriors, chat, settling in. It's become the Rockets now turning the ball over that has been the feisty thing. And that's been the thing that has gotten the Warriors back in this game a little bit. The Quentin Post minutes, chat. Switching on the perimeter. Look at him go. Maybe this doesn't become a shot blocking series. Oh, in transition. I don't know if that was supposed to be a pass back to Butler, but it works out. Butler gets it. He's going to the line, chat. Post. Oh, man. Would Gene Hackman be playing Quentin Post if he was on the Hoosiers lineup, chat? What would Gene Hackman be thinking about Quentin Post? There was another movie that I was just randomly just stumbled across. You know, you just get in these IMDb, just start going down these rabbit holes, and I think I saved it as, I definitely saved it as one to watch. I'd have to go back and, well, actually here, I guess I might as well, because it was pretty recent, so I think it shouldn't be too hard. But pause. Hey, yo. Shouldn't be too difficult to try to find it again. But I was like, Cusack's in this movie too? Of course he is. Or not Cusack. Was it Cusack and Hackman? That was a movie I found a while back that I was like, how have I not seen this one either? I forget what that one's called. But that's from like the two. Oh, is that Jury Duty? Something along those lines? Let me see here. that might be a, I think that's like a 2000s or maybe a late 90s movie. Early 90s? Where's it at, chat? Maybe I didn't save it. Maybe I was just looking at it in the Hackman run. Oh, well, I guess just another excuse to go back to Gene Hackman's page and look at his movies, chat. But he just continues to move on. It's like every movie that I feel like I want to add, I guess, that I'm not adding to my watch list. But all ending with Welcome to Mooseport as the last Gene Hackman movie. Okay, yeah, Runaway Jury was the movie. Yeah, I guess I didn't save it to my watch list. So boom, chat. Corrected. It's saved. Tari Easton to the corner to Van Fleet. We're paying attention. Don't worry, chat. Look at us locked in, right? We know what's going on. Dylan Brooks for 3. Oh! Houston back up by 1, chat. Steph Curry waiting to check in. We've got a lot of options, chat. It's literally on every service, Runaway Jury. They're trying to push the Gene Hackman Cusack vehicle. Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, and Paramount Plus. I don't even know if it's legal for it to be on all these services. Rachel Weisz, Dustin Hoffman. Like I was saying, I can't believe we haven't watched it. Oh, yeah, I did save the other one that I was thinking of. Heist, chat. A career jewel thief finds himself at tense odds with his longtime partner, a crime boss who sends his nephew to keep watch. I mean, this is perfect. That's a perfect summary for a movie. And it's got Gene Hackman, Rebecca Pidgeon, and Danny DeVito, and Delroy Lindo. I think that's why we found it, Check, because we were looking back to the Delroy Lindo run. We were like, okay, now that we just watched Sinners, which Delroy Lindo movie we're going to watch next? Because I think, you know, we're going to be watching Get Rich, Die Trying for our guy Omar Miller. But, yeah, for Delroy Lindo, I guess it's going to be Heist with Gene Hackman and Danny DeVito. A little Sam Rockwell in this one, chat, as well, too. So, yeah, that'll definitely be fun. And like I was saying, I definitely been needing an excuse to go back and watch Get Rich, Die Trying. Yeah, Omar Benson Miller on the IMDb page. But on on the Vans pod, Van Lathan, Rachel Lindsay pod, Higher Learning, he was talking about how he had to drop the Benson out of his name because it was taking up too much real estate on the movie posters, chat. But I don't know, after that Sinners performance, bring it back. I think he might have earned all 3 names again. You know, don't cancel this, chat, but just in a movie poster sense, I think he might have earned his all 3 names again with the performance. And with his interview on Higher Learning as well, too, chat. Just incredible. It feels like the post-marketing, and I know Sam was talking about, and I think he was, you know, he was right as well, too, in a way. Like, and maybe it was more the spots in which they were doing the marketing as well, too. Like, you know, there was, I mean, I was definitely seeing it in a lot of course, like, I mean, you know, you're going through Snap stories, and it's like in the Snap stories, it's like, okay, it's around in the right social spots, I think. But you still can maybe, it's like, are we relying on a lot of the TV spots or whatever? But just the interview runs that have been going on and the marketing push afterwards, it does feel like, I don't know, you know, if this was the game plan for it anyways, but it did seem like it was having sort of not, I guess, you know, similar momentum in the quality anyways to Dochi's album. But if you think about the way that album, again, post-release, had a great push marketing-wise to get people to listen. I mean, you go through and look at the numbers right now, chat, on just the daily album streams. Like, that album is just stayed in the top 5. There's a couple of days, you know, I think maybe even a week or 2 ago, where it was like the most listened to hip-hop album, you know, on a daily basis. And again, it's still always in the top right now, but again, it had to build momentum a little bit. And like, you look at the box office, like that Minecraft movie was really crushing it. But I think I was reading as well too that Sinners, I think, so maybe we should go look up the box office numbers to where it's at right now, chat. But I think it had actually claimed finally like a #1 spot, they were saying. I guess if it had maybe not been that already. So let's see, 19.2 on opening day. Minecraft movie still looks to lead Block It #1 in the 3rd week. So, I mean, but, you know, I guess as a state of cinema stuff. Anyways, is a little Barbie Oppenheimer. Like the Minecraft movie is Barbie and Sinners is the Oppenheimer. But and I guess Barbie, and we're not saying that Barbie's like it is the worst movie. That's a case where I mean you can check the tapes, chat. We're retroactively looking back, going, which one was the better movie? But just I guess in terms of like which one was the more adult movie at the time. But then again, even Barbie is continue to hold up as a movie that I've watched more as an adult, chat, than Oppenheimer. But yeah, either way, still an impressive box office. Puts it on pace to outpace the projections they have. Yeah, I was seeing it projected, and they're saying 40 here. I was seeing, that 40 to 45 million dollar range for it. But it's going to hit over that, it looks like. Minecraft movie builds to $720 million global. Wow, chat. So, yeah, it looks like it got up to 60. There we go, chat. I can't do math, but it's like a 33%, 300%. I don't know what the math is more, chat, than the projections. But Warner Brothers legendary, a Minecraft movie continues to build, playing strongly through school holidays in the Easter frame, with just a 28% slide versus last session at the international box office. Third overseas weekend blocked off another 59 million in 76 markets, taking the offshore running what, chat? The offshore running cumulative, I think, to 376.2 million. Global in turn blasted the 7 century mark, now at 720.8 through today. Warner's also notably set the vampires of Ryan Coogler's Sinners on the loose in 71 international markets this weekend alongside domestic. The original horror picture landed in line with overseas expectations at 15.4 million, added in the domestic overperformance. The Michael B. Jordan starrer bowed to 61 million worldwide. So yeah, chat. Looking at comps, the international opening is on par with Get Out, as well as ahead of Nope by 17% and Speak No Evil by 47%. Which one is that, chat? I remember the title for that, but I didn't see that one. Oh, McAvoy? Wait, there's a 2020... Oh, was this like... So there was like an international film, and then they remade it with McAvoy? I think I remember hearing about this. They were like, wait a second. We're remaking international films that just came out? Like, is Hollywood really down this bad? But... A Danish family visits a Dutch family when they meet on holiday. What's supposed to be an idyllic weekend slowly starts unraveling as the Danes try to stay polite in the face of unpleasantness. Yeah, chat. You hate an unraveling weekend, especially at a James McAvoy household. If you ever end up at James McAvoy's house for a weekend, shout out to McAvoy. But it just these these films, chat. It's a tough track record of being in McAvoy's house. It's just what it is. So but in a more, I guess it's all scary ways, chat. But yeah, I remember this one. So I guess maybe stylistically and yeah, maybe the hype of it. But I mean, definitely the quality. I think, rewatchability is always going to be, an interesting debating point versus what Sinners was going for as a story. But, we'd have to ask the champ, like, what was his, I guess we'll have to ask him again. But like he said, in the moment, he couldn't think of a better, setting up the storyline to getting you into the horror part as one. I mean, again, that's why the movie is so awesome, because it's awesome as a genre film. It's awesome as a storytelling, like, artistic film as well too. I mean, just incredible filmmaking throughout. But he was the way he was phrasing it was the pivot from the story, from the point in the movie, from the story portion of the movie, the setup portion of the movie, to the horror portion. And it definitely does, like, pivot, but again, it's so well done that there's a cohesiveness to it that it's almost more it's almost more of like a ramp up than it is more of a pivot. But again, it is still I guess this is pivot in a way, because it's still like two distinct parts of the movie And again, the story and the setup and the pacing of that first movie is just a different type of movie. Like early on, that first scene, of course, again, spoilers, I guess, if you still haven't seen it at this point. But, with that number, chat, it's looking like a lot of you guys might have gone out to see it. And again, I think a lot of that is word of mouth. So it's good to see that is still effective as well, too, because, I don't think that Sam said anything that Sam said in the conversation is wrong, because, again, like, this is things that we've heard from other people in our lives and in our orbit as well, too, chat, that have talked about their movie going habits. And it's like, the TV show over movie preference, the streaming over theater preference, like, these are all things that are just common throughout. But as just a general thing, it's like good to still see as well, too, that the word of mouth momentum can at least, pick up steam a little bit, that it's not like totally off course as well, too. And I mean, make no mistake, like, Sinners will definitely have the second life on streaming as well, too. Like, people will definitely, this movie will definitely surge back up. I don't know, I guess, number one in the country on whatever app I get HBO, it'll be the number one movie on HBO when it lands there. But I think culturally, again, too, as a moment, like, it'll have a moment again as well, because all these people that didn't go to the theaters are going to see it again, too, at their houses. But again, you get almost this, like, team building, almost like a, I guess it is action, horror action in a way, but the first part of it is almost this assembly. What's the word I'm looking for, chat? It's not like, is it an Entourage movie? It's like, it's not an Entourage movie, but Sinners a little bit better than the Entourage movie. But in terms of a group of people, an ensemble movie, a team up movie, like almost Avengers style in the way it's like, let's assemble the group of people. And again, it's a different cast of characters, not necessarily like, let's assemble the band of warriors, but, and again, spoiler alerts, but the twins are back in town because they're setting up this juke joint. So they're trying to open this juke joint in one day. And that's another even like subcategory of movie that this is awesome as. It's awesome as a one-day movie, which, I think John Wick is another great like single day movie as well. So I think a lot of the John Wicks, are pretty condensed down. Though John Wick 2, I think because there's some travel and some stuff involved, I think that takes course maybe over a couple days. I'd have to go back and, I guess, excuse to go back and rewatch John Wick 2, chat. But because I'm trying to think, the portion of the movie between him going over to Europe, like the suit up portion, and then him going into the catacombs and actually pulling off the mission, is that like a 2 or 3 day? Is that a week? I don't know exactly what the travel. Remember exactly what the travel situation was for that. But you just think time in general as well too. Flying, like how fast is John Wick able to fly overseas? Maybe he's able to get it to work. But as a one-day movie as well too, it really, really works. As a, I guess obviously as a actor playing two people movie, I'd have to think again about like, that might be a category of movies that I'm not as familiar with. I mean, Marvel is obviously getting a little bit more into that because of some of the timeline stuff. And it's like, oh, this person is like playing different versions of themselves, but not in the same sort of way, not for a whole, I don't think anybody, am I crazy, chat? Has anybody done it for a whole movie? I don't think so. I'm trying to just run through the Rolodex here real quick. Multiple parts playing, again, maybe in scenes, but I'm not thinking of one, again, in the superhero universe like that right away. So that one, for some reason, I'm not thinking of as many movies of off the top of the head. But Steph, chat, unbelievable. Warriors up by 6 right now, 38-32. The floater, he's just flipping shots up at the basket right now. I mean, he's trying to, play off the physicality and get the fouls as well, too. But 0 for 3 in the game. The threes are the only shots he's missed. He's 5 for 5 and 2. And I think he's done, again, a good job of getting to the basket, not necessarily taking all mid-range. That might have been his longest two-pointer there. But he's feeling it now. Sven-Gun is 16-7 in this first half. Who would have thought Sven-Gun would be the one to take down Steph Curry? But he might be on an all-NBA team this year, so... I mean, he's in that mix for top impactful guys in the league. And if you're going to be in the All-NBA... Sometimes we, like, almost assume you're just a regular season All-NBA guy. And it's like, yeah, well, is Sengun going to prove himself? Like, there's just, again, like we were saying, there's so many names to put up there at the top of the, we didn't even mention like Halliburton yet, who didn't have a great shooting performance, but is still totally set up to continue to increase his legacy with a great playoff run as well. Like, there's just so many guys that have a chance to be able to, and that's what we were saying. Could be an amazing first round. It's going to be an amazing playoffs because, the talent's going to filter out, and the basketball's going to get better. The best talent, of course, is hopefully going to continue to advance, at least for right now. The best talent this season anyways. But just seeing it all these matchups at one time and all these teams, it's a proof of how, again, deep the league is with talent-wise. But maybe that there's going to be a few surprise emerges. Like if Sengun is like, hey, maybe we have to reconsider. We'll bump him over a couple guys that we weren't necessarily ready to put him over. And it becomes prisoner of the moment as well, too. Like the course of these guys' careers, like would Sengun have I guess, if they make the finals, would he have accomplished more than some of these other guys? But like if the Rockets are in the conference finals, is he automatically a better player than Halliburton? Like, it's prisoner of the moment type stuff. This is his year. And there's Steph, his first 3 of the game. Steph is going to single-handedly, once again, chat, take down Ime Udoka. I don't know how they... What do you do? Again, I'm not going to try to think of a way to stop Steph because I want to see him continue to advance. But I'm not... This is why I'd be a bad coach. I'd throw my hands up and go, well, Steph Curry's a great player. There's nothing we can do. He's going to hit shots. Jabari Smith. Great defense off the ball. He didn't allow Steph to get it there. But now Jimmy Butler with Sengun on him. A little slow there operating. Maybe another bailout 3 at the end of the shot clock. A long midi. Oh! The Steph influence chat is all over this game. I mean, Butler's feeling it right now too. That was not Paul George. That was not a good look. But he gets to go anyways. Good defense, I guess, by Sengun sticking with him. Not letting him work in the post there. I don't know why he thought he could just slowly post up Sengun, who maybe not great defender, but still post defender, not having to move much is maybe where you'd want to see him in defense anyways. And Steph fouled in transition. Maybe tweaked the hand a little bit, kind of looked at it when he was on the ground. I mean, it's all just, it's not theatrics, but it's all just part of the story, chat. It's all part of what he has to accomplish and what he has to get through. Battling Udoka, battling an injured hand. Up by 9, though, as we approach halftime. But, yeah, it's good that it for Sinners anyways, good to see that it's performing as well as some of these. Oh, I just heard that, chat. I didn't even see it. I was looking at the computer, but I just heard the Kevin Harlan reaction. It's Steph again. Oh, man. Now he's at 16 for the half, so he's going to go high score for the half unless we go Sengun getting a bucket here. I guess him and Sengun tied, so Steph and Sengun in a battle, chat. I mean, we knew that's what we were signing up for, right? We knew that was going to be the back and forth in this game. So is that Jabari? He's gotten switched out on Steph a couple of times. He hasn't really gotten Amen Thompson on him yet. So, that could be, again, a fourth quarter later in the game. I guess that 3 that we were not looking at we just missed, staring at the computer for, he just hit over Amen Thompson. But in terms of Thompson, guarding him off the ball for full possessions, but the way Steph's playing right now, would it really even matter, Chad? It just feels like that is the guy that, if he's cooking Amen Thompson, then it really is just another guy at that point playing out of, like if Van Fleet, if you have to throw Van Fleet back on him and Van Fleet stops him, then it's just like Van Fleet's just playing out of his mind at that point, He's tapped into something that, I don't know if he's listening to the blues music while he's playing defense, but he's just tapped into something that from another universe where all of a sudden he's now able to lock down Steph Curry, which I hope also happens out of this movie as well too, as we get like a push for I don't know what that would look like, chat, a push in the blues music, but hey, I wouldn't mind. Some of the Ludwig, I mean, if Ludwig is cooking up blues music, then I mean, it's always going to be a cheat. Like the man's just going to cook up good music in any genre that he makes. But Kendrick, I don't know what that 7th album is going to be, but Kendrick, the one genre he hasn't tackled yet, the blues. I know Soundwave in the studio, I don't know if they bring Jack Antonoff back. I mean, it worked this time with GNX, but, get Soundwave back in there cooking up some blues music, chat. It would definitely work. There's no way Soundwave wouldn't make some crazy blues songs. Jalen Green at the buzzer. Oh, it rims out. He could have made it a 10-point game at the half, but the Warriors up by 13. It's not a 13-point game, really, but that's just how great Steph has played in that second quarter, that the Warriors are able to jump out to a double-digit lead there. Wow. The torch, chat. Not ready to be passed quite yet. Steph Curry, not on the court there, I guess, to end the last couple seconds. But, yeah, 17 in the first half. Oh, 17 minutes. 16 and 17 minutes. Unbelievable, chat. Unbelievable. 7 for 10 from the field. 13 from Butler as well, too. The big 2 for the Warriors, the main performers. And then, yeah, Sengun. I guess somebody helps Sengun out on this team. Thompson 1 for 3. Van Fleet is just going to need to tap into some of that music anyways, chat. Get those shooting numbers back up. And Jalen Green, kind of the secret swing guy. We were looking at this series going, if there's an overwhelming thing, like we were saying from this, like we were saying earlier in the season, is this Rockets team better than a team that made the finals? We might have to cut all that out. But, the peak athleticism anyways, we know it's impressive, chat. Obviously, it's an overreaction in the moment, but if there's an overwhelming thing to the whole unit of it, then maybe like some of the individual scoring performances don't matter. But like if they start having to go, that's what I was saying maybe a little bit earlier. I don't remember if I finished that thought or not. But, the types of games, if they were getting them to play out in transition and athletic and turnovers and we're pushing the ball, then maybe they don't have to go shot for shot if they do have to go shot for shot with them. Sengun's holding up right now, but they're going to need Jalen Green in those moments. And, 1 for 7 in the first half is obviously, we know we know what that is, chat. But still a second half to go here after a dominant third quarter, chat. 29-13 was the score in that second quarter. So we'll see how Udoka is able to approach the second half here, chat. But let's take a quick halftime break and then more of an incredible Steph Curry game on the other side. Okay, chat. This Junior H fella's got to let Megan Thee Stallion get on the stage at some point. Was he on the entire first half? I think he might have been. And I mean, chat, I'm just another old man moment. Are we watching actually live at this point? I think we are, because again, when we tuned in for the last time, we were watching the live stream, but it was in the middle of the day, so I don't think they were actually had the main stages going for the live performances at that time. And we were either way, we ended up just rewatching the Missy Elliott set a bunch of times, which ended up being impressive. Oh, we're blowing kisses to the crowd, saluting to the camera, prayers up, cross, whatever the rosary thing is, chat. But I think Megan Thee Stallion is up next. I was gonna say soon, but you know, there's a little intermission usually for each of the artists for each one. So shout out to our guy Junior H. Looks like he had a pretty electric set going there. But I mean, Chad, we gotta see Meg. It is what it is, you know. But I think as well too, you know, impressive set from Junior H. But again, speaking of that first half, I think that might have been the best half that anybody has put together in the playoffs so far. I know Paolo, he had a pretty impressive half of basketball today as well. Oh, chat, is Big X performing right now on the Gobi channel? Uh-oh. Well, we know, like I said, there's probably going to be an intermission between Junior H and Meg, so we better start jumping over and just watch a little bit of this Big X performance now. Uh-oh, what's going on? Okay, sorry, chat. We have to do a quick pivot to this other live stream real quick, because they just said on the ticker, chat. I don't know, what is this, like the ESPN ticker? Where's the channel at? Okay. The YouTube TV channel app. Of course, a little different than the mobile app, chat. Old man moment. How do you navigate this thing, kids? Okay. What stage was he on? Gobi stage? Yuma Mojave? That looks pretty cool in the thumbnail. Uh-oh. What's this ad? Let's go. We're still at halftime. Charles Barkley already gave us analysis for the game, so they're probably just going to end up rolling highlights for the rest of the playoff games that have happened. Not that we don't want to hear their analysis on that. Oh, Big X, shout out! Our guy. Hopefully this is the end of the set, chat. He's toweling off. Pause. I guess we'll just have to go back and see. Wait, let's just back this up real quick and see how long this set's been going for. Has Big X been up for a second, chat? Pause. Let's see. Oh, no. Okay, so it's not too far. We went back a half an hour, and that was too much. So, I don't know. Big X, I guess maybe he was like a 9:30 technical start. Yeah, he's only been on for about 15 minutes. Okay, let's go. We're just going to start it back and go from the beginning anyways. Big X outside. Missy Elliott, I guess, would have been our #1 Coachella performer to go watch, which, again, we've seen that seat. So now we're going to get to watch Big X, chat. Getting our #2. And then we'll jump over and watch Meg after this. 1, 2, and 3. I guess Travis, we got to watch Travis's set at some point as well, too. We got to see that. So, was he Saturday, though? So we might have to just watch the songs for that. And speaking of just watching the songs as well, too, a bunch of the people from the restaurant went up to the Kendrick opening weekend in Minnesota to go see the concert at the Viking Stadium. Yeah, here we go, chat. Yeah, this is a fun little venue. What do we got? Like a little... it's like a mega summer camp tabernacle situation. Okay, chat, we're giving away our background, but we've got a little outdoor shelter. Nice little chandelier set up here. Big X. If Big X would have been at our church summer camp, that would have been, would have really made the church summer camp a lot. And the church summer camp was fun as well too. But just saying, Big X would have a little Big X the Plug performance and on a Wednesday. Or no, that would have been a headliner performance. Maybe not back then. You know, he still would have been on the come. About his mixtape days maybe. I don't know exactly when his rise aligns to our summer camp years. I think he might have been in summer camp as well too at the time. But yeah, either way, we get to watch our guy now at Coachella. But yeah, I guess who else would have been in the mix. We had to pull back up the list, but that would have been anyways the top ones that jumped out and were like immediate. Okay, yeah, let's watch this. So Big X again, shout out. I mean, nobody is working with the. Nobody's gonna have just the set that Missy Elliott was gonna have. There's just that has to be by far the #1 set. I'd have to go through, and I guess, like I say, but I guess we were talking about Kendrick either way. Yeah, Kendrick was up at that opening weekend, and there was, I mean, somebody was gonna be leaking videos, and there was gonna be a way to watch it, but there's a couple channels out there where they like have almost a full concert clipped out and almost all the songs where you can go watch it. I'm not trying to put them on blast, so, but. I think if it's not like they've been up there for a second, so I think that concert was Friday night, if I'm not mistaken. It was Friday or Saturday. I'm sure it's been a couple of night run there in Minnesota, but I don't know. I guess which one the restaurant crew was gonna go see, but for the ones that was getting clipped out, anyways, yeah, there's a bunch of the songs from the opening Kendrick night that were on there. A bunch of the SZA songs as well too. So I'm pretty sure they said that Doechii was also scheduled to perform, so nobody clipped out any of the Doechii performances, but I'm sure that it'll surface. I'm sure at some point, they'll post to their own pages as well too, some of the live performances. But I mean, of course, you're getting Not Like Us, Euphoria performed as well too. I mean, just a bunch of his old catalog. I mean, of course, as well too. He's doing his first stadium tour, so it's going to go all out. But yeah, it looked like a pretty crazy set list. SZA. Just an amazing performance as well too. SZA jumping in on the Love song as well too, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is that Zakari that's featured on there on the album. But SZA, of course, on stage helped perform the song as well too. And again, Kendrick's our guy right now, chat. I mean, we love Kendrick, and we love some of the melodic stuff that Kendrick's put out. I mean, throughout the course of his career, and I mean, definitely, again, with like Luther and some of the stuff he was dropping as of late, like. He's had some really great performances, but we do have to, I think, give another just shout out, round of applause to the sound engineers chat for his latest albums, because I think some of the beauty of seeing these guys live is just the, Chad, they're just live. We're having a good time. We're all singing together just because, and I mean, Kendrick, of course, I mean, we're not necessarily arguing. It's him as an artist, right? We're not necessarily saying Kendrick's Whitney Houston out here, but Kendrick and Whitney chat. I don't know if that was the name to bring up, but we're not necessarily putting, speaking of Doechii and SZA, we're not like arguing about him as a vocalist with these other people. But again, you listen to some of the melodic performances, and you're like, oh man, Kendrick is singing pretty good. And then some of the clips that we were watching, again, shout out Kendrick if you're just tuning in now. The Kendrick fans are all like, you tune in for 1 second, you're like, they don't like his voice, Drake fan, but it is what it is, chat. The man is, and I mean, you can be honest as well. It's like you can say LeBron's a better basketball player than Steph Curry and still admit that Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter of all time. Like, Drake, and I know, is Kendrick the LeBron. We're not saying Kendrick is LeBron and Steph is Drake. I'm not saying that if we thought it out, that's not eventually the conclusion we would reach. I don't think Steph and Drake is quite the fair comparison. Again, you could say that in the fact that Drake is a better vocalist, like that is a way that comparison is similar. But I don't know if that would be our go-to rapper to NBA comp. We saw a post on it on Instagram a while back that, over the weekend, that was a bunch of historical, and modern day rapper to NBA comps. And there was some interesting points made where it was like, okay, yeah, I see that point of the comparison makes sense, but I don't know if it all exactly made sense. Maybe it was they brought Tim Duncan's name up as well too. I don't remember who they comped him to, but maybe that got me upset. I mean, it was all great people, so I don't think there's anything to get upset about, chat. But yeah, they compared Nas to, so who is this? Handsome Jr.? Somebody on Instagram? Yeah, I guess just putting up a post, chat, but shout out anyways. But they compared Nas to Kareem because, I guess, can I pull this up? I saved it on my own page, chat, so let me pull this up off the screen real quick and then I'll click over on just because. I guess, do we need to keep a more professional Instagram just in case we need to pull it up? Is that gonna happen, chat? Yikes. So just for, because plus I think uses this Instagram as well too. So if there's some weird stuff saved in here, it's definitely IT's been messing around. But Jalen Green at the free throw line. Warriors up 13 to going to have 14 right now. So we're 30 seconds in. We'll see how they're able to play here, keep up in this half. But like I said, that's such a dominant quarter that even if there's evenness, the Rockets will have to go on a run to swing this game at some point, obviously. But yeah, here I got it pulled up. So let me get it switched over. But yeah, Nas to Kareem, because both single-handedly have best item in their profession. Illmatic as, of course, arguably the best hip-hop album of all time. Skyhook as arguably the best offensive, just single move of all time. Again, you could say Steph Curry is the best jump shooter of all time, but is it just Steph Curry's jump shot versus Kareem's Skyhook? Like, I guess the jump shot is a muscle memory type thing, but I think it has to be just a little bit more specific than that. Again, that would be more like saying Kareem's low post game, I think. But you're isolating one move in his low post game as a single aspect of it. So I don't know if, again, is Illmatic count? Maybe is the Skyhook more of a song than it is a great album? Again, maybe like the low post game is like Steph Curry's 3-point shooting is an album. But I don't know if that's too technical, chat. But again, like Harden's step back. Obviously, Harden is not a better 3-point shooter than Steph Curry, but his step back is just a more definable move. I guess Steph's move is the look away 3-pointer in a way. So, but it's a different type of thing. Again, it's sort of a post. It's more of a celebration than it is like a shot move, an offensive move. So again, I get like the Skyhook you could say is the best move and Illmatic is the best album, but I don't know if that's a perfect comp here. I love the comment that says Wale and Jamal Crawford, never formerly all-star or starter, but pen nicer than most. Is Wale Jamal Crawford? Does Jamal Crawford have a nice pen? Is he like an underground lyricist? In terms of, I guess, is Wale an underground lyricist? Kind of, but is Jamal Crawford? I feel like Jamal Crawford is almost the opposite, Chad. I feel like he's more of a pop artist. He's like, he's not Playboy Cardi, but is he like a Ken Cardi? Jamal Crawford, obviously we're talking about him as retired now. But is he more of the non-lyricist? You're like, a lot of stats, but I don't know if you necessarily would go to the genius annotations for Jamal Crawford's game, but you're like, oh yeah, he was a lot of fun. Like, I really do like listening to Jamal Crawford. I kind of find myself listening to Jamal Crawford a little more than I thought, back in the day, but I don't know if he's quite, but a Wale, I don't know if he's formerly an all-star as well too, but Wale is pretty. We all love Wale. Who is Ludacris's NBA equivalent? Oh, I don't know if we were gonna do that segment right now, chat, but that's tough. Does it have to be an Atlanta player? I don't know if they're doing biographical. Yeah, J. Cole and Tim Duncan both are the most fundamental in their profession. See, I would go almost Nas for Tim Duncan, but is that a '90s thing? Like Kareem? See, do we have to go like? Is there a '70s rapper that we can compare, or like an '80s? I guess Kareem was also good in the '80s. So I don't know if Kareem has to be, and we only know like a couple of guys, Chad, and then it starts going into more late '80s and into '90s as well too. Because I think Public Enemy's like, what is is Nation of Millions '88, I think, and now I'm almost better off not bringing it up than trying to guess, chat, but. And I think I'm trying to, like, Ice Cube's debut album was 1990 as well too. So I don't know if I don't know if you consider. I'd have to ask him. Is Public Enemy? I'm just asking. I don't know. Are they considered 80s or 90s? Again, they have an 80s album, but late 80s, and then I think Fear. I guess I could just look it up real quick, chat. But either way, like how dominant do you have to be in the 80s to be considered a 80s album? I guess you could almost, speaking again. That's why. See, this is why I also kind of hot takey. Like I don't think Illmatic is not the greatest album of all time, but I don't know if I would say it's the greatest album of all time. I think it's right there, but Nations is definitely in the mix as well too. Yeah, Nations is 88, and then Fear of Black Planet is 90 as well. Apocalypse 91, 90, and then the He Got Game original soundtrack is 98, chat. So I don't know, between the He Got Game soundtrack and Fear of a Black Planet, are they considered 90s artists? And again, if you drop an album as iconic in the last 2 years of the 80s, like you get to go as an 80s guy, but and I don't think it needs to be a full. In the Warriors, with Butler hitting a 3-pointer, they take a 20-point lead, chat, with 7.5 to go in the third. Right, Amen Thompson, just a couple of 3-pointers tonight, right in his grill. But and again, I'm not saying it has to be era specific, but they just have a picture of 70s Kareem, so it feels a little bit older for. Now, I don't know if Kareem almost is he get a rapper comp, or is Kareem like a soul artist almost, or is that almost, do we have to go back as like Bill Russell? It's like we can't even compare eras. Like Bill Russell's like Luther Vandross, It's like, okay, we get that, or all the music that's being sampled and used. It's like Luther Vandross is hip hop. It's just we're throwing different drums on it, but we're remixed Kareem's game a little differently. In 20, and of course, I guess Wemby maybe now, but Tim Duncan and J. Cole is, again, it's good that they're both fundamental, but is J. Cole, and man, I mean, again, I love J. Cole as much as the next guy. J. Cole's been my favorite rapper up until Ken, whatever. Do I jump ship? Again, it's all like all those guys are the favorites, so it's just. It's just in the moment who is winning, I guess, of the bunch. Do we need to be a little bit more like committed like we are to the teams, chat, or do we get to be, is this the the arena in which we get to be a little more go with the flow with the fandom? Because that's also part of the fun of music as well too. But it's like, hey, Kendrick, it's time to listen to Kendrick's music. And as well, I mean, it's, like we're saying, it's could be the timing of it too. Not that, again, Kendrick is not just timing. I mean, the Kendrick music is timeless, but for us, maybe subconsciously it's like, okay, we've been listening to J. Cole our entire lives, so now that Kendrick is hot in this way, again, not that we're not listening to Kendrick, but him taking his spot as the number one spot in our rotation over those guys, it's like we're saying, we can use the chance to switch it up as well too. But I mean, of course, those guys are always going to be Cole and Kendrick are always going to be in the rotation as the top two guys as well too. And some other artists, chat, formerly of the 2000s that are having complicated runs right now. But again, what do you want me to, is Graduation just I have to like delete it out of the Spotify? What do you want me to do? I don't know. Is Kanye, I don't think he got comped in here as well too. Maybe this was the one that really was a little upset. And again, it can't be upsetting to compare anybody to Isaiah, because Isaiah is awesome, chat. It says both are the most threatening in their profession. Reminder, Kendrick's Control verse and current 2024 run. Isaiah is the only player to take down Jordan, Magic, and Bird in the playoffs. So that is definitely true. But I do think that, with the run that Kendrick has had, and which is to the career that Kendrick has had, not again just the run that he's had, but this run that has elevated him again into this status has solidified him now in these GOAT conversations in a real way. And again, he's always, Billboard had him as the number 2 rapper of all time in like 2022 or 23, and then he says that as well too on the Americans Got Problem verse, where he's like, Billboard, they know after Hove, I think, rightfully so. Is that the bar chat? Something along those lines. But he's like, okay, in that top GOAT conversation either way. And now with the mainstream being boosted this way, and with adding another album and the diss track, a defining song of a year and a decade, and who knows if even maybe a genre as well too, and a coast, like whatever. It's just Kendrick, again, with all due respect to Isaiah is one of those guys that is clearly as talented as anybody that's ever played the game, but you just have to look at the careers that happen. Like, and again, he's a top 25 player of all time. It's no disrespect to Isaiah, but I think Kendrick is a little more in the GOAT conversation in his profession than Isaiah is in his profession. Like, again, to bring Steph back, again, I don't know if he is Steph, if we've thought out the comparison, but like Steph, I think, is a better point guard all time, a better guard all time than Isaiah. So it's just like there's guards on the list that I think are, and it's only a couple. Maybe, again, if I really sat down and thought, maybe it would just be Magic and Steph that are above Isaiah. There's no way this goes in. There's no way that went in. Stephen Curry falling away, chat. The defender in his face. It's why, it's why we're saying, chat. It's just there's guys that are clearly in the GOAT conversation above the people that are you know, up on the list as well. So I think Kendrick is one of those guys that's a little bit more clearly in the GOAT conversation. But yes, this is like the Isaiah taking down a bunch of legends, the way that Kendrick has tackled on, the whole game in that control verse, the way he battled Drake and, the industry as well too, in a way, with I guess I guess however you want to view the industry relationship to Not Like Us chat, but with just the way he has been in battle mode, the way Isaiah was able to take down some of these legends, it makes sense. But again, with all due respect to Isaiah, I think it's just it's a couple spots off. That's it, chat. It's not far though. It's not far, but Isaiah's definitely one of them. And I hate to say that as well too, because Isaiah, I always want to talk positively about Isaiah, and I'm not saying I'm not talking positive. I'm literally saying he might be the third best guard of all time. I guess point guard of all time, because again, guard, but now we bring in MJ, Kobe, West, all T-Mac. Where do we put T-Mac on the list, chat? We just have to shout out T-Mac. But Ginobili, the fourth best guard of all time. But yeah, at least for that point guard position anyways. Like we're saying, maybe he's the third best point guard of all time. But just those other guys it's like that's the argument is Steph and Magic at this point. And the argument is going to be Kendrick and Nas and Jay-Z and these other guys. Like, is Isaiah a little more in the Pac big range almost, where maybe even Isaiah had a little bit more of a run than, like, Big had the 2 albums. Isaiah, he had more than just the 2 seasons, but he had the 2 championship seasons. And I mean, Pac definitely had 2 like real defining albums with Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me, and a body of work as well too outside of those 2 albums that he was able to accomplish, that you could go, okay, Isaiah has the career and then the 2 main championships. But, and again, like, there's ways you could look at it where you could say the impact that Big and, it just depends on how you look at the list. It's like the impact that Big and Pac have had, there's nobody more impactful in the history of hip hop than those 2 guys. But just with the catalogs that they were able to produce in their times, there have been guys that have put out more work and thus chat, hey, we're using big words now, but have also, as a byproduct of that, made more better music as well too. And now with awards, of course, being introduced, when they were introduced for the game, there's that whole aspect of it, the numbers being what they are. But again, Isaiah is, it's tough, chat. Is anybody as talented as Steph? But you get what we're saying. Like, as a basketball player, Isaiah Thomas is as good as anybody that's ever played. It's just some of these guys just put together these crazy runs. And, you credit Isaiah as well too for, and with as great as that team was, like those Celtics and Lakers teams, and even like the Sixers teams. I know we'd have to go through the time. Like, I don't think the Sixers and Pistons really quite matched up there, like the Dr. J and Malone Sixers, maybe. But I guess here, we'll switch back into the other tab real quick. The Warriors are still up by 21, so we have time to go back to the 90s real quick, chat, and just take a quick reminder of what happened. But like, even that team, like Dr. J and Malone, is just a better 1-2 combination than, Isaiah and Dumars, Isaiah than any of the other 2 people on his team at the time. So it's also a credit to him the way that he was able to go. So Malone did play up to 95, chat. Yeah, the man, I mean, of course, one of the best to ever do it. MVP votes, at 13th in MVP voting, in 88-89. So the Pistons, of course, would have, I think, were they the 88 and then the 89 titles, or the 89 and the 90? And then MJ, of course, once we got to the 90s, MJ is when they turned. So yeah, they would have been 88 and then 89 at the end of the decade there. So it would have been, them as a young team versus sort of the Sixers. I don't think the Pistons quite would have been fully formed in the same way. I don't think Rodman and Dr. J would have had the battles in the same way. I mean, yeah, Malone is off of the Sixers by 85 as well too, chat. Malone only had a 4-year run on the Sixers. I know Malone bounced around a little bit, but to be, that impactful in all these places in that short amount of time, chat, is pretty crazy. But then, it does also, like, I mean, and of course he's beloved in Philly and by people of the era because of what they were able to accomplish winning a title. But it's interesting in, like, the Durant conversation, where how do you get talked about in history where, not that you're, like, basketball fans are always going to remember Moses Malone and Kevin Durant, but people in the city, like, I mean, as a Spurs fan, Chad, am I going to think of Ginobili first, or am I going to think of Moses Malone first? It's just the weird thing about how the basketball stuff gets passed down. So Barkley and Irving, just a little Sixers timeline brush up, I guess. This is a little Barkley, Dr. J overlap. But Moses and all those guys, and anyways, Barkley and Dr. J, even maybe at the end of his career, is still, as a peak combination, a better 1-2 punch than both of those guys. But so, again, you don't want to take away anything from Isaiah just because he won 2 titles. Like, it's incredible that Isaiah, again, was able to make this run and take down all these legends. Like, that's part of the point. But I think, again, the point is, like, Isaiah took down the and again, it's like, tiptoeing around what to say. But Isaiah was able to match the people that were better than him, if that makes sense. Again, he's in the mix with these guys, but you still are probably ranking Magic and Bird and Jordan above Isaiah Thomas in the rankings. But there was runs in which Isaiah was the guy that got the better of those legends. And Kendrick, I think, is one of those legends that if you were to look at, you would be like, oh yeah, Isaiah got the better of Kendrick, versus, and some people as well too, going into the battle was like, oh, Drake is definitely has the upper hand. But to be honest, I don't know what the betting odds would, like, if BETSTAMP would have compiled all the betting odds from all the various books of Kendrick versus Drake. I don't know what the most favorable odds for Kendrick would have been. I don't know if it would have been like plus 200 if the sports books would have been like, yeah, Kendrick's lyricism, it's too good. But I really would have thought that, again, just from a technical standpoint, and again, like, a battle with Drake is tough because you look at what happened with the Pusha T battle. Not that he just gets destroyed by another lyricist, and Pusha T is, of course, a mainstream hip-hop guy. But the way that you're able to elevate into the mainstream a little bit more because of the opponent that you're facing. And it's like Kendrick is already right there with the mainstream stuff. Like, anytime Kendrick pops out, he's the biggest in the game. So he's already got that going for him. And it's like he's going to get the boost of fighting Drake. And, I mean, Kendrick has the Pulitzer Prize in his bag. It's just a lot of things going for him. But, again, I think he goes into that status of, whoever, the Isaiah Thomas would be of the day, chat. I guess, again, we're not doing the full comparison segment right now, but it'd be like, they were able to take down Kendrick or whatever. Like, maybe Pusha T is like an Isaiah Thomas almost, where you're like, Pusha T, does he have the full career to go up against Drake, where you're like, I guess you probably could say that Pusha T technically is a better basketball player. Is it like, but then again, you're arguing like Isaiah versus like John Stockton than you are Isaiah versus, like, I guess me personally, I think I think Isaiah is more solidified at number 3 in that mix than with Steph and Magic than he is in the mix with the other guys. But either way, yeah, it's I think a great comparison, but maybe there was just a different way to look at that one as well too. But we also so they did go Drake and Steph. I think that's just subconsciously maybe what I was thinking of. But yeah, the melodic style and the 3-point shooting, both, although it was done before, both changed the game. So you'd go like, Reggie Miller in the 90s, like, melodic guys before Drake as well too. But I don't know if, I mean, yes, Drake is as revolutionary as Steph with the way that people were copying him as well too and influenced by him. And it's tough though, chat, because again, like, the way the melodic thing, it's definitely been accepted in hip hop, and again, it's because of Drake that it's been able to be elevated and I don't know if validated is the right term, but because again, there's always been sort of an R&B hip hop mix in the genre in a way when you look at, but then it's like who's performing that as well too, and who is acceptable to be doing these sort of R&B hip hop crossovers. But you look at the way that it was accepted, like Steph's change for basketball, and maybe not, but like Steph's change for basketball was accepted as a valid change. And again, there is still a contingent that would look at the way that some of the 3-point shooting stuff is went in the league. And again, there's definitely a phase there where some of the way the offenses were being run functionally around some of the star players were, a little controversial on whether or not the entertainment value was there for watching them. But it's undeniable that the math of 3-point shooting is better than the math of 2-point shooting. Like Steph Curry changed basketball because he opened our eyes to a better way of basketball. Like Drake changed the game because he introduced, and again, you could say because of the numbers, a better style of hip hop, but I don't know if it's a better style of hip hop. Again, I'm not saying it's a worse style. I'm not gonna fully go the other way with the point and say, Drake's not bringing in a valid style of rapping, but I'm saying he's bringing in like a different approach to it. And again, with the commercial success of it, like you could say that the commercial success is the efficiency of that. But is it Drake a commercially successful artist, or is it and again, like Young Money, and I get maybe that's Wayne and some of the other people, but like is P&D, is Party Next Door fully, is the impact that he's having on the game the impact the same way that Steph is having on the game? Where, yeah, there's obviously guys that maybe shouldn't be taking 3-pointers in the same way, and elements that are being overlooked in the game because people want to take 3-pointers so much. But again, like if you have that aspect unlocked in your game, then, and again, how far do you want to overthink these comparisons as well too, Chad? But I'm just saying, I think the changes are different changes. I think they're both seismic changes and both stylistic changes, but I think they're a little bit different because now it's like, and who's the next version of Steph Curry? Like we're seeing, of course, now that the game has been unlocked in a perimeter way, and now that everybody's focused on perimeter stuff, like the bigger players that are doing the perimeter stuff are going to be the more favorable thing. So it's like, who is the wing? You could look at maybe, obviously like Wembanyama as the next checkpoint, but a guy like Amen Tom, Giannis. Like, I guess Giannis doesn't have the 3-point shooting aspect. Maybe Jokic is like the next evolution of like a Steph Curry, but again, with not really the athleticism to go with his part of the game. But I guess Durant, played with Steph and is more of a one-of-one than he is like influenced by Steph. But you look at a guy like Playboy Cardi now, and I'm sure people smarter than in the hip hop scene would be able to say like, oh, here is how Drake influenced Playboy Cardi in all these different ways. But you just look at the way that people are again influenced by him and the way he's impacting the game now. It's a different type of thing where I don't know if Steph Curry, and again, you could go, okay, is there a melodic thing that he's doing? But again, it's more Drake's doing more of a melodic R&B, and is Playboy Cardi and some of this, it's more the melodic, ragey, melodic, whatever, but, more the rage type stuff than it is maybe the OVO sound that Drake was introducing, that Canadian sort of dark R&B vibes. But I don't know if 3-point shooting as a focus is ever going to go away from the NBA. Like the athleticism, guys attacking them, like we're saying, the two big looks, like there's going to be variations from it. There's going to be counters. There's going to be ways that teams try to be different and try to attack. But in the back of everybody's minds for the rest of, I guess maybe, and again, who knows, like times change, chat. Maybe as a 3-pointer, I'll become an NBA traditionalist one day when the NBA is changing. I'll be like, no, 3-pointers are the way to go. Like you have to shoot 3-pointers. But again, with the math of it, like I'm saying, like the arguments are all gonna flip in 50 years. We're gonna unlock some. I guess once they add a 4-point line, who knows how it changes. But Oh, Tari Eason swatting Butler on the transition fast break opportunity. So the Rockets now, Van Fleet for 3. Oh, they're down by 14, hanging just on the edge of making this an interesting game again. But again, I don't know if Drake has again, I'm not saying he changed it for the worse, but I think he brought in a new sound and a new wave, more so than oh, hip hop is better now, or there's no way that we can have hip hop without the melodic keys stuff. If that makes sense. Maybe I'm wrong, Chad. Again, there's elements of it that are always going to be there, but I just think they're different changes, and I don't know. I think they're different personalities as well too. Different. I mean, literally, part of the whole beef was Drake's acceptance in the culture, but I think different acceptances and impacts maybe just on the mainstream as well too. I mean, again, Drake's as beloved as anybody else, but I don't know. It's close, Chad. I'm not saying that this one is not right. I'm just trying to talk out, maybe figure out if there would be another comparison there, and it'd have to definitely be a great stats person translated in some awards. Drake's, again, you can't say it's, is Drake Westbrook, because I guess he has won titles. He's won the Grammys, he's been the #1 artist. There's no box that he hasn't checked from the thing. I guess, has he won, again, the rap battle against the major artists in the main way? Of course, that's gonna be a thing that looms over him, and something that I'm sure, I mean, as you see, he's making moves now, still trying to poke at Kendrick. It's going to be something that he's going to want to try to correct. And maybe even just the Kendrick part of it, more so than just taking down anybody. Obviously him and J. Cole were more on the friendship side of things than they were enemies before the beef started. But, if just as another main guy, if him and J. Cole ever beefed, I don't know if he would ever feel like he's sad, he's, filled that hole of winning a rap battle by taking down even a guy as great as J. Cole, or him and Tyler the Kendrick have a rap, or did I say Tyler the Kendrick? Tyler the Creator. Tyler has definitely followed some of Kendrick's moves, but I think he has been an original guy himself as well too. So I think Tyler the Creator is an appropriate name instead of just Tyler the Kendrick. But if him and Tyler the Creator get in a rap battle, he'll still have that itch to win over Kendrick in a battle. But again, he's achieved every box in his career, so I don't know if it's fair to say that he's Drake's James Harden in a way, but maybe that the heliocentric offense was more of a variation of what Drake was bringing in than the revolution of the, I'm just saying, maybe it's a different type of comp. Maybe Doncic is a Drake going forward. Drake's obviously he's not Trae Young. Shout out to Trae Young, but Drake's obviously not in the play-in game. The man's at least home court. Is Drake this year a 4 seed, a 3 or a 4 seed instead of a 2 seed? Again, maybe Tyler's up there. Maybe Dochi's surged up now. Dochi in our rotations, I think, passed up Drake as of late. But I'm just saying, if we're doing the legacy rankings of it, the in the moment sort of power rankings of it all, is she the Rockets right now? Is the young seed, the young team 2 seed on the rise? But I think again that one's. I think this is definitely a better comparison than Kendrick and Isaiah, and again Cole and Duncan is not bad, but I think Duncan is a little bit. Again, Duncan's a little bit more accomplished than Cole. Duncan's a top 7 player of all time. Cole, as much as Cole is one of the most beloved rappers of all time, that's a very, again, easy thing as well too to compare them. They're both easily beloved. Again, maybe some of the competitive stuff Cole's gotten clowned on a little bit as of late with the way he moved in the battle, but I don't think people have turned on him in the same way. Maybe it was okay, that's a move we didn't expect. That's not the move we wanted to see him make. But he's still that just absolutely beloved, figure. And again, it's and I guess the diss track was, and the Rockets, Chad, they're starting back. They cut it to 9 as we enter the 4th quarter. So just a chance for Steph Curry to have another clutch performance, stamp his mark against the Rockets as well too. And I know that was part of the storyline as well too, was the old, the Rockets and the Warriors have a little bit of a legacy in the playoffs with those Harden years. Oh, 3 at the buzzer. Was that Jeff Green? Was that Tari Eason? Somebody was trying to bank it in there. But the Rockets do cut it to 9. They say 17-3 run to end the quarter there. Impressive stuff. But yeah, again, like GOAT conversations, I love Cole. Like Cole could definitely, well, we'll see how he moves. It wouldn't be surprising for him to get back to where, like, yeah, you know, Cole is back in the GOAT conversation. But, you know, Duncan is right there in that, just that next tier. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. It's like LeBron and, you know, Kareem and Magic and those guys for that #1 spot. But, and did I say Jordan? You know, I guess we're all assuming Jordan is already in the conversation as well, too, as the #1 guy. But, yeah, again, Duncan is like a little higher up. This is flipped, where the basketball player is higher in the legacy rankings than the artist. And in this one, I think the artist is higher in the legacy rankings than the basketball player. But this one, and I think for me, like, I would have Steph probably as a higher ranked basketball player than Drake as a hip hop. I don't know. That would be close, though. That's a close one. That's probably the best comparison so far with Nas and Kareem. Yeah, Steph and Drake. Charles Barkley and 50 Cent. Was that the next one? Yeah, okay. Both not role models, and every player felt their wrath. That is not bad. It's not bad. I guess, again, if we're doing the title comparisons, you know, 50 Cent definitely, I guess, got robbed? I don't know if he got robbed. Did he lose? I think he lost to Outkast. But did he lose to Stankonia, or did he lose to Speaker Box? I guess Speaker Box would have been, well, 03. Stankonia like 01. So for some reason, I guess Get Rich was 03 too, right? So he lost to Speaker Box, which I know in terms of replay value, maybe the, you know, Get Rich is obviously one of the just great, most replayed of all time. But yeah, 03 for the release. So it would have, I think it would have been Speaker Box. Unless, the thing is, it's like, you know, the windows, like if Speaker Box was released in a different part of 03 and then won the Grammy in like 04 or whatever. But yeah, this was January of 03, so it would have all lined up. But I actually love Speaker Box and Love Below Chat. I think it's a great album. And again, you want to start arguing the Grammy stuff? I get that. Like, even I would put Get Rich above Speaker Box on the legacy rankings. But for Outkast as a duo at that point, again, like 50 Cent as a debut artist, like any, you know, if you're going to win for a debut, like there's really no better debut than that. But as a legacy, too, there's just no other better legacy than Stankonia at that point. And for what they had as Speaker Box, and then, again, both great commercial successes. But I don't know, Chad. I'm not like chalking that one up as one of the bad ones. Like, again, like it's aged as Get Rich is probably the superior album. And again, I say probably there. Like, again, I'm not saying probably. Like, I debate it. Like, it is the superior album. I'm just leaving room to give credit for where Speaker Box is an awesome project. Again, we're talking about Get Rich as like one of the, you know, 15, 20 best albums of hip-hop albums of all time. And you guys are like, wait a second, why is it not in the top 10? Again, I'm just being safe with it. And that's like a stacked. I mean, you could even go top 30. You know, I know Billboard can get crazy with some. I guess they might have Get Rich, or is it Rolling Stone? I forget. One of them's got like Get Rich is like the 50th best album, hip hop album of all time. You're like, okay, what are we doing here? But you know, you could have it 35, you could have it 7, you could have it 2. You could, I mean, it's really that stacked of a, you know, just history, of course. But for this part of the comparison, you know, 50 Cent had a really, of course, like we're saying, strong debut in the commercial success of The Massacre. And I think The Massacre is a really solid album as well, too, which, you know, shout out to Billy Buckets and the crew. Shout out to Champ Quinn. Our old friend, Chat, the artist formerly known as Ian Fattaport, our guy, Gibby Gibson, you know, just a little bonfire situation the other night, hanging out. And there was a portion of the night as well, too, where it just turned into like a run of 50 Cent songs. And again, you're listening, The Massacre is great. I mean, you know, you want to start debating about how it's lived on legacy-wise, it's one thing. But that song, there's songs on there with massive replay value that still get played now. Steph Curry, that's in. Oh, okay. The first miss. We'll see what happens. Fourth quarter turn. Not clutch. I don't know, Chad. But is 50 Cent, like, did Charles Barkley have a longer pause? Hey, yo, Chad. But did he have did his run, was it a little bit longer than 50 Cent's? Because, again, like, as 50 Cent has one of the best apexes, if not the best I mean, you could argue the best Apex that any rapper has ever had. But again, it's an interesting. Is there a sports comp for 50 Cent? Like, if Mahomes retired right now, would that be 50 Cent? You know, again, he's not Brandon Roy. Like, with all due respect to Brandon, and Brandon Roy was awesome. Like, was Brandon Roy second team All NBA? Wait, is Big X done? Did he just walk off the stage? I feel like we just zoomed through that, chat, but I mean, that was, I guess, a third quarter. I don't know. Junior H, was he a whole half? Big X, get back out there. You got a fourth quarter to go. No, well, I guess just another reason to... Okay. I guess the set is done, chat. Wait a second. We got to back it up. I don't even care who's next. I guess, well, we do have to go watch Megan Thee Stallion. I guess I do care who's next, chat. Let's go see. Let's throw back to the main stage. Have they even started? How long was that, chat? Pause. How long is this intermission between the two as well? We got an ad break here real quick. And then we'll see. And then we'll see if we're able to focus on Steph Curry or Megan Thee Stallion. What happens? Okay, yeah, she's live right now, chat. Oh, no. Oh, man. She's live. Oh, did she just go? Oh, I think perfect timing. I think she just fired up. So maybe Big X is like, wait a second, Megan Thee Stallion's on stage? I got to get out of here. Wouldn't blame him. I think Big X, I mean... We're all headed over to go watch Megan Thee Stallion play. Steph Curry, he's like, can we get this game over early? Steph Curry might just go on a run here, put the Warriors up 20 so he can get back. Well, I guess, you know, Steph Curry appreciates the music is what we're saying. We're not trying to get our guy in trouble. But, yeah, anyways, like, with all due respect to Barkley, did Barkley have the apex of 50 Cent, you know? I think Barkley, of course, is one of the great players of all time. Won the MVP of the league, so you definitely could... make that case. Steven Adams with the dunk. Rockets down by 8. But again, 50 Cent is maybe reached the highest heights. Like, is 50 Cent Bill Walton? Like, maybe that's the comp chat. And again, you go, well, speaking of injuries, like, was Bill Walton shot 9 times when we talk, you know, talking about some of those lower body injuries? But, you know, Bill Walton is like as good as any other player that's ever played, but we just didn't get as many years as Bill Walton as some of the other guys. And if he had had the career, maybe you could have argued that he is just straight up the greatest of all time. Like if 50 Cent even had, you know, 1 or 2 more albums on there that were just those massive all-time albums, or just those classic albums even, like, I mean, he's just in that absolute... I mean, 50 Cent literally is in the GOAT conversation on the strength of those 2 albums. And again, I'm not saying that, oh, 50 Cent only has 2 albums. I'm just saying that 50 Cent, again, with Apex was so strong, and his peak was as powerful you know, a movement as we've ever seen a hip-hop guy have, that he gets just thrown into the GOAT. You're like, oh yeah, we got to bring up 50 Cent because... he just is a guy that has to be brought up. So I don't know if Bill Walton even gets brought up into the GOAT conversation the way 50 Cent would. But as guys that were just absolutely potentially the greatest at their apex, like, who is a better basketball player than... who's like actually more capable of stuff than Bill Walton? Just, you know, the years total gets to put some of the other guys above the list. So IT, you might... I don't know what we're gonna do about this. This fourth quarter of this game is just not gonna get watched whatsoever. But yeah, I think Barkley or 50 Cent and Bill Walton. I guess that's our comp that we're throwing out for the day. I guess this was my favorite one. I'd have to go through and remember, I guess, the rest of these. But I did like this one. DMX and Kevin Garnett, both impactful lyrics / game, and would bark at you. So Kevin Garnett, one of the best lyricists ever to play in the NBA. That's for sure. And that's not even a joke, chat. I know maybe you're thinking like us making fun for some of the, you know, Kevin Garnett reading clips that are out there. But no, I think in terms of, we're talking the trash talk, if we're talking the bars that were being dropped on the court, I mean, Kevin Garnett was about as aggressive and, you know, about as attacking of bars as you could possibly get, much like DMX. And again, both Barkers, chat. I think... you know, a very good similarity there. Thompson attacking the rim. Steven Adams, chat, has turned the game in the fourth quarter. his size around the rim has helped with the rebounding. And again, like Steph getting downhill was big. He's been good shooting outside of those first couple of misses. And now Amen Thompson on him as well too. So that was what we were saying. You know, Steph on the switches was getting those looks. So he's already sort of firing up and in rhythm by the time Amen Thompson is on the closeout. But now with Thompson with the chance to actually deny and make him work and run around a little bit, that's, you know, just a more ready defensive spot. Eminem and Bird, I think that's an obvious comp, chat. Both changed the narrative. I think both the best white in their craft of all time. Bird's the best white basketball player ever. Eminem, the best white rapper ever. Both great trash talkers as well too. Both Midwest kids. I guess this is a pretty good one. We can't necessarily say that this one's wrong. Gary Payton in transition. Warriors up 9. Udoka timeout. But, yeah, I guess there's not too much to pick apart with this. And they say, yeah, both good trash talkers. Sneaky. Like, Eminem maybe more notable for, like, his, you know, his attacking and his aggressiveness at the peak of his powers. But I think Bird is a pretty notable trash talker as well, too. Like, it's maybe not the number one thing that gets brought up, but it's pretty high up there. It's definitely one of the things that, like, the, you know, the Bird fans that are like, hey, I'm going to bring up a trendy Bird point. Like, it's definitely one of the first things that they mention. So, LeBron and Jay-Z, of course, they always get comped. Both are considered GOATs for longevity reasons. Numbers don't lie. I mean, you know, Jay-Z has the bar. I guess I don't remember exactly, but how often are we re-listening to this DJ Khaled song? But on that God Did verse, he says, how many millionaires? I'm pretty sure it's on the God Did verse, chat, where he's like, how many millionaires out of Hove's crib? Bron, he mentions as well, too, in that verse. So Bron kind of starting off with the mentorship of Jay-Z feels like it makes sense that, and again, with the business stuff, like him moving in a similar way, the comps make sense. The business compared to the on the court, the longevity, the numbers of it. Like, is this season LeBron's 444 album in a way? Is Luka Doncic's No ID? I'm not sure, chat, but again, that one's fair. So, and Jay-Z, like we're saying, is a guy that they're both equally in the GOAT conversation. Jay-Z, like we were saying, is number 1 on that Billboard list. So is LeBron our greatest player of all time? You know, he's not outside of the top 3 at worst. So, you know, you're never going to put Jay-Z as like the 6th best rapper of all time, probably. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, of course, we know that one makes a ton of sense. Shaq and Biggie, chat. This one's crazy. One Played with Death albums. Of course, Biggie's titles for his albums, Ready to Die and Life After Death. And, of course, you know, R.I.P., the legend. We know that the Biggie story ended tragically. And this is crazy, Jack. Shaq played with his health, his weight. Both could have been the GOAT. And I guess they are both. You could still be like. See, this is another good one, Chad. I know, again, the weight thing is going to be hilarious, but as a way that they're similar. But as like Shaq's dominance in LA, again, nobody was as dominant. Like Biggie's 2 albums, nobody was better for Biggie's 2. Nobody has a better 2-album run in the course of their careers than Biggie. Nobody's a better rapper than Biggie. So it's just whose careers do you value over Biggie's at that point? Then, you know, nobody's a more dominant basketball player than Shaq. So and you could argue that if you're just on the court drafting people, like if you're just, I need a song, I need the best bars, the best people, the best rappers on a song, like of course Biggie's going to be right at the top of the list to draft. If we're just, okay, I need a team, I just need unstoppable guys, like Shaq's going to be right in the mix for guys you want in your starting 5 all time for NBA lineups. So Biggie might be a little bit more in the GOAT conversation. Like, is he more of a lock for the all-time hip-hop song than Shaq is for the all-time team? But the all-time team might have 10 spots versus, you know, how big is this posse cut, chat? Like, we got to at least let the guys cook a little bit. So I guess if all these legends are on one song, it could be a great song. But Kobe and Wayne is also pretty good as well, too, because it's like, well, both dominated in the mid-2000s, and their run was impeccable. So this is like a great timing comp as well too. Biggie and Shaq as like 90s guys is pretty good, but of course Biggie passed right before Shaq went to LA and really took off. But the timing works. Jabari Smith now for 3 brings the Rockets to 5. And the ones like the Lil Wayne fans all like, you're like, yeah, Lil Wayne is definitely the best of all time. Like I'm saying, like I'm a J. Cole fan. Like I'm just a guy that's like, yeah, J. Cole, I'm a fan. Like with all due respect, you know, I'll probably still put him higher up on the GOAT list than most, but I'm not gonna say he is right now the GOAT. You know, I've still got to look at the list. Like, you know, it's still looking. I was listening to the Blueprint 2 the other day, and I was like, uh-oh. Was I actually putting Kendrick as the greatest rapper of all time? Because again, this Jay-Z, there's just a lot of albums here. A lot of work has been done throughout this man's career. But the Kobe fans, it's like, yeah, the Kobe fans, Kobe's the greatest player of all time. There's just no other answer. The Wayne fans, there's no other answer than Wayne. And you can't tell them they're wrong. Like Kobe's 5 titles, you know, he's got all the numbers, all the accolades, clutch. You know, you just have to start like making, you know, like Kobe's one of the worst ones, and especially, you know, now as well too, with him not being here as well. And Amen Thompson inside. Houston down 3. Okay, chat, we better go back to the game. We better actually focus here. They're making us pay attention. The game is getting close. But, uh-oh. What happened to our box score? Are we back up here? Okay, yeah. We're live and going. But, yeah, like the arguments you want to make for the reason that Kobe is not the greatest of all time, like you just don't want to make those arguments. They're not the same arguments you would necessarily make for other players, which is, you know, you don't want to say like, you know, other players, you just make arguments that they're not good. But shout out to Megan Thee Stallion chat. But you know, just there's like, again, Kobe checks all the accolades and all the basketball stuff, so you just have to start getting into, you know, just ugly arguments as to why he's not the best player, or why you wouldn't have him on a team or whatever. Like, you know, there's really no argument that Lil Wayne is not the best rapper of all time. He's as good with the wordplay as anybody has ever been. His rhymes are as great as anybody. His just body of work, and especially in the mixtapes and with the commercially successful albums, like the Carter 3 is as a successful an album as there's ever. Like, again, he's checked every box, so it's just kind of like, what do you consider sort of the consistency as well too into a factor of it, where, you know, does Kobe have some of those seasons where it's like a miss in sort of a Wayne album as well too? But I do really like that comp as well. So we're back in timeout, chat. We can go, I guess. Okay, it's timeout time. I guess we'll just have to go back and keep looking at these comps. But they're starting to get better, chat. Maybe they're giving us the hot takey ones early on. Kanye and Kyrie, I mean, again, if we're just saying if we're just comparing certain aspects, then yeah, obviously. But I mean, we can all be honest and say that Kanye is, you know, if we're looking at the music chat, and I think we can have a conversation, and it's impossible to have a conversation now and not look at just the music, unfortunately. But if we were just looking at the music, you know, again, Kanye's better at his craft than Kyrie is. It might be a hot take, like Kyrie is one of the most skilled basketball players of all time. I mean, that's the point of this. Like, Kanye is one of the most skilled, you know, if we're talking to production, I guess, you know, one of the most skilled producers of all time. If you get into the lyrics as well too, I mean, you know, peak Kanye rapping is a great rapper. I don't think Kanye as a rapper, we would argue, is the greatest rapper of all time. But again, he's like, Kanye's like, maybe Kanye's a little more, well, ooh. See, like, I feel like this is a segment, chat, so I don't want to start like giving the comps, but like I'm saying, you know, there's a well-roundedness to Kanye's game where, you know, it's not that Kyrie doesn't have the two-way aspect of it, but it just, that puts Kanye up into now, when we're talking about the legacy rankings of it, and we're talking about the, if we're talking about the, chat, this Coachella set is crazy. I'm not going to be able to focus whatsoever, especially timeouts. IT, can we just like rewind the game during the timeout, so I'm just focusing on plays, and then we can just skip the commercials, because if I keep getting distracted, I'm not going to be able to go back and watch the game. But again, with all due respect to Kyrie, like Kyrie's not even like on the All NBA 75 team. Like he's had clutch moments, he's had great moments, but he's just not in the same conversations legacy wise that Kanye is. But they both are controversial. And with all due respect to Kyrie, chat, again, I don't want to say that I'm not following the man's moves as closely, so maybe his moves just aren't being as publicized right now, but Dove seems like he, hot take, does seem like he's moving a little bit better than Kanye is at the moment. Seems like that's not hard to pause, not difficult for anybody to do, but, they have had moments of, Kyrie has had his moments of controversy as well. But, with all due respect to Kyrie, I think at this moment we don't want to be comping him to Kanye. But again, I'm not as brushed up on the Kyrie politics. It's just the fact that they haven't been as talked about as late, I guess. But Tupac and Jordan both conquered the 90s, impacted the world during their profession. Another set of GOATs. This is one that I honestly don't even want to comment on because I'm not going to sit here and say that Pac is not Jordan. But did Pac win 6 titles is basically the question. I think Pac's legacy, has definitely been 6 titles winning worth of legacy. Like, so I guess it maybe is all the same. But like the in the moment domination of Tupac, because that is the piece of Jordan that keeps him in the legacy ranking as the #1 spot. And the 6 titles is the the quote unquote stat that kind of proves that. I guess you could still dig into the clutch numbers as well too. Which, speaking of clutch numbers, chat, Rockets with the turnover. Pods going coast to coast. Get it back to Curry, Pods. Yeah, Draymond to Butler. And now Butler attacking Adams one-on-one, so no Curry this possession. It's Pods now? Oh, so now they're just going to pass to Moody. Oh, Moody, the bailout 3 at the end of the shot, or bailout mid-range at the end of the shot clock. Somehow a whole possession without Steph, and it works out. But the thing that keeps Jordan in that GOAT conversation is in the moment, he was the most terrifying basketball player of all time. So I guess as a rapper, was anybody more terrifying than Pac, chat, with the diss tracks and the way he was dropping with, Hit 'Em Up and how vicious he was in some of those bars. But I don't know, it was in the moment he accumulating the stuff the way that Jordan was dominating in the moment. And again, you go the impact, like the influence of Jordan's game and the influence of Pac's game. Like, Pac has still impacted the people that have followed him. I mean, I guess Wayne was compared to Kobe. So I don't know if we're comparing Kendrick to Kobe in our comparison, but you think about the way Kendrick is moving and it is a little Kobe. I know we've made this point in the past too, but it is a little Kobe to MJ-esque. So I think, again, his legacy, maybe he's a little over Pac at this point, whereas of course Jordan was over Kobe in the legacy rankings. But if we're, putting Pac in the mix again with Jordan and Kobe, like to say Pac is Jordan is, I'm not going to say that that's wrong. But I do think that, again, maybe Jordan's dominance was just a little bit more than Pac's. And Curry, as a closer, chat, 31 now for the game. Chat, Magic and our guy from Def Jam. I'm a bad history fan, so we'll just have to move on this one. But Nelly, who is this? This is either Run DMC, chat, or who's the other one I'm not thinking of right now? It has to be Run DMC. So Magic, I think a little better. No, chat. It's not. See, it's putting names to faces. Like, I feel like it's just for us. I don't know the faces for all the guys, so I know. I'm just gonna have to start Googling all the old names that I know, and just see who this is. Is somebody else in the comments also a young whippersnapper like me, chat? And say, oh, KRS-One as Tim Duncan. See, maybe who was the guy in the? Oh, maybe Nas is KRS-One, or I guess are we comparing? maybe Kareem is KRS-One. That's who Nas was compared to. Nas was compared to Kareem. Oh, LL Cool J. Magic Parallel is my favorite of all. Chat. LL Cool J looking like a young, hot LL Cool J. Not to say that he doesn't look like a mature, hot LL Cool J, but I don't know. He looks less LL Cool J-ish, I guess. He looks less. What show is he on right now, chat? He looks less like LL Cool J from this show. In this, he's not wearing a bucket hat in the show, so it threw us off. I don't know why I was thinking it was some Run DMC guy or something, but LL Cool J is magic. So they say the Parallel is my favorite one of all because they're both fundamental figures to the widespread success of their retrospective industries, despite people frequently being mentioned in debates about the greats for either one of them. So maybe I was thinking Magic as Run DMC because he should be being compared more to Run DMC. You know, obviously feels a little bit more fast-paced. Maybe Magic is more Public Enemy? I don't know, Chad. But I guess if AJ Throwback approves of the LL Cool J, I guess does Magic... I guess both kind of Hollywood figures as well, too, in a way. But I don't know if Magic has had the... Is LL Cool J Shaq, you know? Both successful in, you know, TV shows / movie productions afterwards. But Nelly to Dirk is kind of crazy. I guess both kind of country stars in a way. You know, Nelly, there's like some country crossover. Dirk, he's in Texas. But when it comes to legends, these two are very underrated. How many of these rappers sold more than Nelly? How many players do you know scored more than Nelly? This one feels a little bit forced, chat. Maybe Dirk is like 50 Cent almost, where Dirk's apex, it's like whose finals run is better than, you know, 50 Cent's run. But Dirk had that at more the end of his career, where, again, 50 Cent had it at the beginning of his career. So is there like a rapper end of his career that has like a late sort of resurgence? Is Dirk more in like the Killer Mike sort of lane, where, again, Killer Mike has always been a great player, but having that run for the Grammy, you know, not, it's like 6 albums. I think Michael was a 6th album, but, you know, took, I guess, you know, that had his run with Run the Jewels, so his 6th solo album, technically, you know, Run the Jewels as a group, but, you know, had a real run there before he sort of broke through in the industry way and actually won the Grammy. So maybe that type of way, because, again, I think Dirk is way above the legacy rank. Like, as underrated as Dirk might be and as underrated as Nelly might be, like, Dirk is not as underrated as, well, I guess, as underrated as Nelly, but, like, Dirk is not in the same rated as Nelly. Like, Nelly, shout out, but, and again, like, who has sold more records than Nelly? Nelly's great. I was just having, well, you know, Nelly's got some great songs, I should say, but, well, you know, Nelly, I mean, we'll take a call from Nelly at any point, I guess, shout out, but, yikes, chat, but, we were just talking to somebody about some of those Nelly songs as well, too, you know, about, just some of that early 2000s music, but I don't know, this one's a little off, honestly. Never mind, I don't think that's a great comp. So Sven Goon is in the game now. Draymond chirping it up with Sven Goon? Did they flip the series mentally? Wade and T.I. is not bad either, because, again, they both were, like saying, peaking, and then momentum kind of slowed down for various reasons. And both, you know, Miami guys as well. I'm a fan. I like that one. Okay, chat. We've got, is this Coolio and T-Mac? Should I fact check this one and make sure? Gangster's Paradise, Soulja Boy and J.R. Smith. Okay. Let's see here, chat. Is that all? Or do we have to load some more? Oh, Wale and Jamal Crawford. Or are we just going back through them again? That might be all. Oh, wait. Andre 3KO, that might be one that's about to happen. Okay, chat. I guess we're just going to have to do our old guy or I guess this is us. This is not an old guy moment. This is a young guy moment. Do our research and see if this is the right. Okay, chat. See, now this is like trying to pair names and songs, and see, I consider myself a fan, but sometimes I guess I'm not always I'm a fan more so than I am an historian. at this point, chat. But let me see. Okay. Gangster's Paradise cover. What do we got? Both guys living up to their magic. Early 2000s. Gangster's Paradise would have been 90s, so I don't know, chat. I don't know who this is for some reason. I'm a bad fan, but T-Mac either way. So, Mello and Kiss, Hall of Fame worthy bars and scoring. Moody puts in a bucket. Moody's, I guess, got 7 in this game. KISS. Hall of Fame worthy bars scoring. These two are brutal, but would make it look good with their special set of skills. They would save their best performance for the last tape era Soul Tape / Knicks tape. Is Soul Tape an album? Let's go back and look at this, chat. Real quick. Curry attacking, driving, doesn't get the layup to go, but Butler the rebound. So no Adams in the game. The Rockets go small to end this, and again, it was Adams sort of dominating the interior, getting some of those rebounds that was helping them earlier in the game, chat. So who knows if that's a lineup that they're able to close with at one point. Oh, Fabulous, chat. Fabulous and Mellow. Is that the comparison? Okay, we'll need to go back through the Fabulous discography, I guess, and double check. But I don't know. Obviously, you know, I'm, I guess, much more a fan of Mellow than I am of Fabulous at this point. But Kevin Durant and Andre 3K both had success with their teammate / group member and could be top 10 in their profession, but they never had a solo moment. That one's really good as well, too, chat. I think Andre 3K's group career is a little bit more successful than Durant's group career. Obviously, Durant's peak group career moments are as good as anybody's. Should we quickly jump back to the end of this game real fast? There is less than a minute left. The Warriors are up by 9, so they're going to get this win here, chat. But you never know. Quick minute left. I guess the ESPN is saying that we do know it's not going to happen. Butler dunks it in. So, yeah, they go up by 13 here on the Sling TV stream, but a couple seconds behind. I guess a Van Fleet 3, maybe? Amen Thompson back out. No, it's a Dylan Brooks 3. Yes, it is a Dylan Brooks 3. Down by 10. So, oh, there we go. It goes final on the game. Steph Curry, 31, 12 for 19. Absolutely brilliant. And again, I would say, you know, the second half a little slower overall from his numbers standpoint than that second half in that, or that first half in that second quarter. But that might be the best performance that we saw from the playoffs, chat, from game 1. From anybody, maybe, again, Derek White. I don't know if he wins our game 1 MVPs as well. And let's actually just double check this box score real quick as well, because like we said, we didn't see a ton of this game. So what did Hartenstein's final box score look like, I guess? Chat, Desmond Bane was minus 51. Huh? I like Desmond Bane. I thought he had a good season. What just happened? Oh, man. Minus 51 is like, we have to take a moment of silence here. That's crazy, chat. What did they lose? I guess they lost by 51. So Desmond Bane is responsible. I guess poor Desmond Bane's going to get yelled at after the game, but probably everybody else as well. Jax, I mean, you know, 2 for 25 combined. Ja's not even good. That's just Thunder's defense. A part of that as well, too. 80 points is crazy. Jalen Williams had 40 plus 44. Okay, 20 points. Hartenstein with 19. I was going to say, man, Jalen Williams really took off after we stopped watching that game. But 10 of 16 from the field. Shea, yeah, was 4-13 from the game. Didn't even have that great of a performance. They almost took 100 shots today. Man, chat. Crazy stuff. But, yeah, Derek White, I think, was the #1 performer today for the Celtics with a 30-piece. And then Paolo had 36, 11, and 4 himself as well, too, on a pretty good shooting day. And, looked pretty good. Franz had a pretty good early part of the game as well, too. And, he finished 1 for 6 from 3. Is not going to look good. But like we're saying, there were some moments there where that duo was definitely looking like a very competitive duo. And then for this game, Jerome off the bench, I don't know if he ended up being the lead scorer, but the sixth man of the year on the REMINGTOM pod was once again a major impact player today. Bam with 24, shout out. 5 3-pointers is kind of crazy. But where did the Cavs go? Here we go, chat. Yeah, so we had Mitchell with 30 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds versus Steph with his 31. And I don't know, the way that he lit up that second quarter, it's a tough one, chat. It's a tough one. But Steph is just going to get the nod in any situation. I guess this Donovan Mitchell Skims ad or Steph Curry's 31-point performance. What is the MVP of the day? Or this Megan Thee Stallion performance. I think she might be the MVP of the day, Chad. It is what it is. Did we make it? I think that Durant Andre 3K was the last comparison anyways. So we were done with that list as well. And yeah, chat, done with game 1 of the playoffs. So yeah, shout out to the Warriors. Like we were saying, it could have been a pass in the torch one for some of these young teams, but I was thinking about this as well too, and I don't know, I guess I'll say this now as the last save this for the end for the real ones that might not think I'm too crazy for making this point, and to see if this makes sense as well too. But just to think in the LeBron Steph dynamics, because again, there could be a changing of the guard from LeBron and Steph, the collective of both of those guys from that era to the next era, if the younger teams win. But I would could call it a changing of the guard from Steph to LeBron, because Steph has been in LeBron's camp as a top guy in the league now for, Steph has been a face of the league with LeBron for a decade, even if some of those earlier years it was him, again, as a popularity figure still as that on that level. But in terms of the on the basketball court stuff, the LeBron factor was still the #1 factor in the league. But even, I guess, as the last 5 years now has really sort of been on equal territory, if not even, considered maybe a little bit better in the player rankings than LeBron. But there has still been, I think, this underlying feeling of, in moments, LeBron is still, again, it's been as close with those two guys. Like, maybe you would do a play, like, I don't know what the Ringer has as their top 100 right now. Like, I feel like last time I looked at it, Steph was maybe like 7, and I think LeBron's somewhere in the high teens, but maybe he's like 9, so there's only like one guy in between the two of them. But maybe you have Steph at 7 and LeBron at 13 or whatever, so there's a couple guys in between them. But again, it's all in that same tier where you feel like they're playing on the same level. But I do feel like this season, like I was saying, for me, when we did the award stuff, Steph Curry was clearly a first-team All-NBA guy. I didn't think, obviously, LeBron was. Again, he's 40 years old, so it's not a critical LeBron point. It's just trying to view where we're at on the timeline. And I was just thinking, like, could this be the first time in Steph's career where he is clearly the more impactful player than LeBron, if that makes sense? And again, it's not Steph is not, and again, it's technical stuff you get to finally, LeBron's 40 years old and they got to that point. But it's just is what it is in the timeline. Like I'm saying, LeBron is still also an all NBA impact talent guy, and even if Steph was competing for that first team spot a little bit more than LeBron was over the last couple of years in the playoffs, in the big moments, again, even Steph has been more capable as a #1 guy, but just the ability to, because he's making that finals run as well too, just a season or two removed off of LeBron making his run. So it's like those guys even still are, that run is more attached to that time period, I feel like, more so than it is these last couple of seasons, if that makes sense. And I know it's still like the last 5 years or whatever. But, and again, that's why I'm saving this point for the end, because I don't really know if it makes sense. But as I was thinking about the passing of the torch, I was thinking about that as well, too, in the dynamic between, oh, man, and now, what is Megan Thee Stallion doing, like an outfit change? Like, literally in the middle of her set? What is happening, chat? They blurred the screen, but did they blur the real... They didn't blur her. So I guess we're just going to have to get tickets to... That's why we save it for the end, chat, I guess. But, yeah, we'll probably need to get tickets to see... We meant to say we were going to get tickets to see a LeBron game first. Is LeBron and stuff play if they make it to the second round of the playoffs. Is really what we were going to say. But, hey, I don't think the Lakers are off the table for winning their series yet either. Chat. Oh, wait a second. Chat, IT. The production. We're falling apart here. I didn't even have the screen pulled up in the background. So, yeah, we were just looking at some of the game stats that I guess we were reading out anyways. But, yeah, chat, shout out to the Warriors. Shout out to Steph Curry for getting the win tonight and for a pretty impressive round one, a pretty fun slate of games. So, there we go. We will continue to be back later this week as well, too. And who knows, chat? Do we go? Are we going to be live tomorrow? Or are we going to go watch Sinners tomorrow at another time? I don't know if we'll get back. Can we sneak in? I'm not going to put the theater on blast. I don't want to, you know, I don't want management in the theater to hear this as well, too, and fix this, because I like this. Well, you know, we don't need people breaking into the theater, but usually they have the ticket monitor guy standing there, like, makes you check in, where you can go to the desk and purchase a ticket, or, you know, if you purchase, even if you purchase, of course, you still have to go over and then check in with your ticket. But there was just nobody standing there to check in our ticket. We didn't go to, like, a late showing or, like, you know, like a 3 p.m. or something where you're like, okay, nobody's going to be in the theater. Like, it was still, like, in that early, that evening, like, kind of prime time stretch, and there was just, like, nobody standing. We were like, I didn't even have to buy a ticket. I could have just walked in. So who knows? Maybe I'll just start taking laps around the... Because there's, like, a little restaurant in the front part of the theater. So maybe I just start pretending like I'm going to stop by in that... You know, I'm here for pickup, of course. Who doesn't stop by the movie theater restaurant every now and then for some pickup? But then if there's nobody, just slip into the next showing of Sinners if nobody's there. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I guess I got to go. We got to watch the rest of this Megan Thee Stallion set, chat. Or maybe not. Because I think, are we slowly going more clothes back on? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But between that and this Steph Curry performance, the adrenaline is kicked. I might have to go take a walk before I go to bed, chat. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, that was fun. Steph Curry, must-see TV. We will see what happens the next time we are live Tuesday night. So thank you for joining us tonight, chat. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube. We'll be back live throughout the playoffs. The live streams will go up on the podcast feeds, Spotify, Apple, and the rest of the apps out there as well, too. So you guys can have that library available to you as well. And, of course, I mean, the video thing with Spotify is, of course, I mean, you know, the Ringer, chat. They're just starting to do it. But, I mean, you can scroll back through that Rem and Sam library and see that we have quite the catalog of video podcasts to go through as well, too. So, I mean, the podcast feeds are as stacked as the YouTube and the social feeds. Rem and Sam on Instagram. The DMs are open over there if you want to send us a message. And if you want to contact us in any way, if you want to say what's up, if you want to ask us a question, if you want to, you know, just comment on this Megan Thee Stallion Coachella performance. I don't know what you guys need to message us about. But the DMs at Rem and Sam on Instagram are opened up over there as well, too. So we will be back later this week. Thank you guys for jumping on, and you guys have a good rest of your night. Happy Easter, everybody. I can't believe we didn't mention that up top, but yeah, you know, who knows what your guys' situation is and what you guys are doing, but you know, for us, Easter, it's an important day. So, and I know any type of these holiday days, however you celebrate it as well, too, you know, being around loved ones and family, that's an important, you know, we're not going to take that away. That's an important element as well, too. You know, regardless of what your situation is. So, shout out to the family, shout out to Easter, and shout out to just a special day all the way around. What ended up being a special day of basketball as well, too. So, ended up being a great fun day all the way around.